The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are those of the host/guest and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any of BXR entities and those they represent.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Talk Lately. I am your host, Monny, right here on BeExposedRadio.com. I am joined tonight with ChasReal. I'm gonna get it right one of these days. And
you got it right, honey.
and Nate Couser of the Artist Exchange every Friday at 5 p.m. All right, let me bring y'all on now because this is driving me nuts already. Hey guys.
Hey.
All right, so we got some things that we're going to talk about. So I know y'all are unfamiliar with this impromptu schedule that we're doing now, but we're creating content over here. So we're trying to keep it going, keep it busy, keep it live right here on BeExposedRadio.com. So tonight we got a whole bunch of things that we're going to talk about, including Elon Musk and this Twitter war that is turning into.
His name
Beyonce.
is broke ass Elon Musk. That's what his name is.
Beyonce. What else we got?
The shade.
Some
No
more Amber
shade.
Heard. Then we're going to talk more about the squeegee workers, and then we have these things that are happening in New York. It's the two distinct stories that stuck out to me in New York. One of a stabbing and one of a restaurant being destroyed that we're going to talk about. And a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about with the squeegee boys has something to do with all the comments the plethora of comments that I've been reading over the past couple of days in relation to the man that was killed on Pratt Street. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about Elon Musk. So the official story is that he's pulling out of the $44 billion deal with Twitter, which, you know, as a stock owner is driving me nuts because that makes that go up and down, up and down, up and down every time this volatility goes around. Part of just to put a staple on it, part of Elon's argument was in relation to the spam accounts that are on Twitter.
Okay.
Where Twitter reports that about 5% of their user base is spam accounts. It doesn't look like, even as I use Twitter, it doesn't look like that is the accurate number. Because like if I post something on Twitter, 9 times out of 10, the first person that's going to pop up is an egg as a comment. That means that that person really doesn't want to either identify themselves, because that's the thing that you get when you first sign up. You have your picture as an egg. And then you change your picture to your profile or whatever you want to change it to. But when those other accounts come up, they usually come up with their egg and then their name, but they are usually spam accounts if you haven't done it. If you've been an egg for maybe a year or so, you're probably spam. More than likely, you're a Russian bot. You're muted. Both you and Chaz are muted.
Like a lot of old.
And you're muted again. Both of you are muted.
So
there you go.
There you are.
But a lot of older people that join those platforms don't use their photo right away. So I don't think that that's necessarily mean that you're a spam account. I didn't put my photo on my Facebook page until I started doing Be Exposed. Till I started doing the artist.
You had something up there as a representation of you though, right? Like an image or something. I didn't think they let you even create a profile on Facebook without an image.
Well, I've been using it since I was in college when you had to have a college ID. So I had my same page. That's my same page since Facebook started. But I know a lot of older people who use it, they don't use their photo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I know Twitter just has a default image, but which is the egg. But I think a lot of older people who get on those platforms don't necessarily feel comfortable. And a lot of people with businesses, that's their personal page. So they don't necessarily want to put an egg up there if that's their determining factor for what's a spam page. But
I don't know if
Well,
that's their
probably
determining factor,
so.
but
I
that's
mean,
what I
when
said.
I'm
Most
thinking
of the
about
spam pages
spam,
have that egg image.
right. And when I'm thinking about spam too, like on the social media, I think anybody that has an account that is not trying to, identify yourself for whatever reason, in my opinion, it's some sort of spam because, you trying to share your views or whatever else like that, but you don't want to be identified for sharing your point or, or
Well, a
what you
lot of
share.
government workers not supposed to have pages. A lot of
Right.
well, I'm not gonna say government people, but certain people with a certain level of security are not supposed to have social media pages.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
Right.
again, you gotta, it's case by case. There are a lot of bots. There are a lot of trolls. There are a lot of people spamming, but they're using your profile. They're not getting no new profile. They're getting.
Oh, baby,
They're
tell me
getting
about
yours.
it. Somebody had me on plenty of what is it? The plenty of fish, honey. My
Ooh.
number and everything, baby. My number and everything, my pictures and everything. I said, I know I'm that girl, but not that girl. Okay. People was
No,
calling me.
somebody didn't
I was
like
telling
you.
people, I was like, baby, that is not me. They like, oh, whatever. You just gave me your number. So that's what I'm saying. Like, even when I think about it, in my opinion, like, and I get that, some people being on certain levels or whatever can't really identify yourself in social media. But on hindsight, it's spam. You spam. You're not legitimately, can't come on there and legitimately and be you and share your views. And all it's spam. It's spam. We don't know who you are. We don't know what you it's spam.
True.
So I guess you were saying Elon was broke, but I guess whoever ran it through him or whatever, they probably was like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it because it's probably that audience that he thought what it was isn't there.
Because that's what I was going to ask you. So what do y'all
Isn't
think? What do
there.
y'all think about him pulling out of this deal?
What audience was he looking for?
He ain't got it.
What audience
I
was
don't know what he was looking for. I mean, his whole point of doing this was, and basically, I think was in efforts to defend Donald Trump about the freedom of speech thing. But freedom of speech does come with a cost.
But that's what I was ready to say though. But he was going to take it being free to tweet her away because I was hearing it through the grapevine that he was going to, close it down on that level and you had to pay.
Yeah, because it's hate. Well, this is a great question.
That was
to
the
go
end
to
of
because
Twitter.
I don't know anybody's opinion on this. I don't think I've ever even asked anybody their opinion on this. Is hate speech free speech?
No.
Right.
No, and that's that in many spaces is against the law. You can't do it. You can speak freely, but you also will accept those consequences.
Right.
Right.
So you can speak, you can say whatever you want to say. That in essence is free speech, but you're going to accept those consequences. If you call somebody a fag or anything about Jewish people,
threatening somebody,
you're getting canceled. So
right.
in some cases, it's considered hate speech, which is against the law. So depending on what state,
especially if it's coming off as a threat or you bringing, harm to somebody or saying something so harmful that's going to cause somebody any type of.
But again, it has to be across the board because who was that? Trump did that to two of the ladies that was at the voter registration. I can't remember what state that was. He spoke out against them, put their names out there publicly, and they were poll workers. No, they worked for the polling place and put their effort. That's considered hate speech because you're putting people's identities out there on a public platform.
Right.
That they didn't agree to be on. It wasn't like y'all was in an argument back and forth. You put them out there, and that's all considered hate speech. So you can say whatever you want to say, but just in today's world, get ready for the consequences.
That's true.
All these defamation cases being won.
Yes.
And I heard those two, that was a mother and daughter, and they actually have a defamation lawsuit out against Trump now.
Wow. And I think that's what the disconnect of it is, because when people think free speech and my right, of freedom of speech, that's how people go too far. Like people think that, right, I can say whatever I want to say, and you can. But once it comes to be detrimental to somebody, regardless of their race, their sexual preferences or whatever else like that, it's not freedom of speech, it's hate speech.
Right.
It's hate, it's a threat.
But see, prior to this, we have a lot of people on the internet because there were no real rules to regulate that. But when Cardi B beats, what's her name, Tasha K, and now what Johnny Depp being heard is now things are changing. You can't say whatever you want to say about somebody.
People, and
even if
especially
it's in a gossip platform.
Right. And especially if it's going to affect them. That's so true. That's how we were saying when we talked about, what you're going to talk about again is this Amber Heard, I heard, just won't shut up. But I think that was the point that Johnny Depp was trying to make. And that, you can say what you want to say, but once it comes to the point where it is
detrimental
going to be
to my business and my things that I have going on, right?
Then you're going to be held accountable for that. Yeah.
I think it needs to be heavily regulated because now with public opinion, you can close somebody's business down, you can get them fired from a job, you can get them outed, everything can turn around for a person based off of the right social media spin or the right person saying it, or the wrong person saying it rather.
So true. And I always say that amongst people, that I just hang around or allowed to even be in my circle, my square, whatever you want to call it. Like a lot of times, when people speaking on certain things, and you have a certain togetherness with a person. Some people say things just to see what you want to say, but people will look at it and say, "Well, I ain't say nothing. That's just it. It ain't what you said; it's what you didn't say." And enough of us don't do that. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have fallen out with people. And then go around people know how close we were, and they may make a comment or say something just to see what I'm going to say. So if I don't speak on it or discredit what they're saying, then this rumor or this statement that they are making, people are 9 times out of 10 more to believe that it's true.
But I know we're getting off the topic of hate speech, but it's just what you're speaking of is going into a whole nother area of you cannot just say whatever you want to say. Even if you have freedom of speech, you cannot keep doing that. We're in a space where, especially, and I hate these bloggers or podcasts or just, when they do the blogs or the advertisements for stuff, and they got a post on a tagline on there that has nothing to do with what the actual story is. It's just insane. I hate when I see that. I hate it. I just hate it because it's so. It's misleading.
Right. And that's why I'm careful that, when we come on platforms like this to say sometimes, it's my opinion. It's just my opinion because it's just my opinion of how I feel on the matter. But everything is not facts. And I just think that that's wrong, like the point that I was making where even if me or whoever, or if I'm around somebody and someone says something about you and I know it not to be true, I'm going to be like, nah, I don't think so. Not enough people do that. And that's how rumors just flourish. They do. I hate no loyalty out here. None. And then people are just believing whatever they want to believe. Baby, if somebody's mind is open and they already not feeling you like that, child, they'll believe anything.
That's true.
They'll believe anything because they want to believe it. Trust.
Here's what it says about the disclosure that Elon and his attorney sent to the Securities and Exchange Commission. Twitter has not complied with our contractual obligations. Ringler claimed that Twitter did not provide Musk with the relevant business information he requested, as Ringler said that the contract will require. Musk has previously said he wanted to access to Twitter's claim about their 5% of monetizable daily active users, and that they are all spam accounts. And he said Twitter has failed and refused to provide this information. Sometimes Twitter has ignored Mr. Musk's requests, and sometimes has rejected them for reasons that appear to be unjustified.
Interesting. Wow, my whole thing
is
that
deceptive practices. How are you going to be trying to sell your company and then not provide the detailed information if that's true?
I don't think that it is. I don't think that he's telling the truth because I think he's trying to spin it so it doesn't look like he's broke or he doesn't have the hard cash to be able to do it.
like he was putting out there that like how he did, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
But this touching back on that point that Monty made, like, yeah, when you, if it is true, my opinion is, and you looking to spend that much money, yeah, give him everything that he needs. And if that is the case, then they were, neglectful or whatever, and providing that information, then no deal.
Because
Right.
you know
But
why?
then,
You know why I don't think it's
with
true.
that
I
cause,
think
though, just thinking about myself because I'm a share. I have to admit now that I'm a shareholder in some of Twitter stock. That Twitter shares were down 5% on Friday. That hit my bottom line because you announced that you weren't going to buy the company.
yeah, but the reason I don't think that it is true because it would if it would not hurt Twitter. It would not. They wouldn't gain anything by not disclosing the information. Because if they have that many,
Because
people
one way
that
or the
are
other, even if he
monetized,
had went through with the deal, he would have found out what the truth was.
but it
But
does.
whether
They
they
don't.
gave it to him now or later, it could have actually, the deal wouldn't have been finalized anyway. You would have still been able to get access 75% way through, and if it wasn't true, then backed out.
Not right when you started. When they started telling you how much.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's what it sounds like to me because they don't lose. They would lose out hiding information about how many
because
monetized
that would just open them up for more lawsuits. Who would open themselves for the lawsuit, knowing that one way or the other, the metadata is going to be his. If he took control of Twitter, the metadata now becomes his, and he would have been able to just go through it and see what the spam accounts look like. So it doesn't make sense for them to be hiding anything just to get the deal through when you can sue after the deal is finalized.
It just looks like Elon Musk is trying to spin it in his favor. So it looks like he backed out because they wasn't disclosed. This is not no mom and pop social media site. Twitter is very established. Why wouldn't? And most of their stuff is public. Most of their finances and stuff, that's public information. But you can't just. I think you're just trying to spin it. Just say, Sarah,
and I can see that now that y'all bring up all these points. I definitely can see that now that it just probably wasn't a grand of a deal that he thought it was going to be, or he just ain't really have all that coin. Like it sounded good.
Or it could have just been his nature to try to manipulate the market, because that's what I think it was. He was trying to manipulate the stock market, and he succeeded.
Oh, speak heavy on it.
He manipulated the stock market because what he didn't reveal and what he hasn't revealed, or I haven't seen, or that how much stock did he buy when he first said he was going to buy Twitter? What did he buy that day? When you first announced that I'm going to buy Twitter for $44 billion, and then that day, what did he do? Did he go to the stock market and buy up every share that he could that was available?
No.
And then sell them all last Thursday, and then said to the company, I'm not going to do the deal. 5% stock loss, but he made money.
But can't you? What is that called? Can you get in trouble for that?
Yes, it's called stock manipulation.
Well, you can't. Well, if you can't prove that exactly,
but you can't prove. That's what I'm saying. They would have to be able to sue him to prove it, and that seems like the course they're going to take. That seems like the course that Twitter is going to take. They're going to sue him for making all of this upheaval and then falling out of the plane.
Defamation.
He had to do all that. He had to start that controversy to get that money because, like Nate was mentioning, he probably is damn a little bit. So, like I say, once you put it like that, oh shit!
And because you can tell he's paper rich.
And then one of the problems I had with this whole entire deal is that they set this up to the point where it wasn't a stockholder conversation, because remember when he announced this, that finally, it was like 2 days later, they was like, we're going to take the deal. What about us stockholders? You didn't even inform us yet. Because I would totally, me being like I said, I'm a stockholder in Twitter. Me being a stockholder in Twitter, I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. I bought stock in Twitter because I believed in y'all, what y'all did and how y'all handled y'all business and y'all what y'all rules and regulations were. And then you trying to make him, he wants to do this for a specific purpose, to allow people to say whatever the fuck they want on that platform. And I'm not willing to go for that.
Oh,
Well,
that
I
hate
mean,
speech. That hate
are you
speech.
just meeting Twitter? Because people do that anyway.
Right, but you get in trouble for what you say on Twitter right now.
Really?
Just like Donald Trump is barred from Twitter. You get in trouble for what you say that invokes problems.
Well, he was president at the time he was banned. Well, we just said right after he got out the presidency.
Right, but when you report somebody's page, they take action.
Yeah.
That's my point. When he said Elon sounded like he wanted to do was take away those restrictions that you will not be penalized for what you say and do.
I'm not just saying.
You know how many daggone sex videos is on there now, but they trying to crack down on that.
That makes me look at. I'm telling you,
that
makes me look at.
Oh no, they have
so differently.
But that means somebody's been reporting it, but they're not just going to take down videos.
No, that's what I'm saying. When people report them, they have been taking action.
Right. Because if they only fans,
that is trying it.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
They turned that around real quick. Ain't no artist posted no shit to no damn OnlyFans.
Oh goodness!
Elon Musk lost some fans with that one, child. But I'm telling you, the way that y'all just now just spilled all that and gave that scenarios, like I can see that it definitely it was something more to it. Like
because he may have been just trying to get them to drop the price of it. So if your shares drop, then I can buy it cheaper. And they probably wasn't budgeting on the price. But you said 44 million, that's what we want.
Right.
That's
what we want. Give me my money.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about.
And it might have been all of his money. That might have been all that he had. Because they don't know anything. They know how to live off of that credit, child. And I know he ain't got all that money.
Them insurance policies. Them insurance policies. That's how they live.
All right, let's move on. Have y'all seen Beyonce's new album cover?
No.
Is that the one with her on the horse?
Yeah, her on the horse.
Yeah. What they got to say about this? They just don't let that lady live. Like, the Lord can go out there and live
I can't take nothing from her. I can't.
They just hate that girl. That's not her thing.
I can't.
She don't bother nobody.
And anything that's great is going to be tested. Like I
know her boobs look good.
That's why I say that body is giving a whole lot of extras to me.
She's a grown woman.
That's the way. I mean, that's the after effects of having twins.
Let's go, little pussycat.
That's the after effect of having twins.
Okay.
J-Lo who?
Well, yeah, the album comes out, which I wasn't too shocked that she put out that first song and then the album comes out. July 29th.
Coming out. She announced it.
Yeah, July 29th.
That's my birthday.
You gonna buy it? You gonna go buy it?
Yeah. I think I am. I ain't, CDs or anything else like that, but I think I already know the vibes that she on.
Well, let me ask you this question: Has that first song like, did it do it for you? Is that the reason why you're buying it?
I'm a fan of Beyonce because she's creative, she's innovative. I may not like all the songs, but I just give it to her for having a clear direction and having a full out project. Mm-hmm. And not no more, I'm gonna do a single here, I'm gonna do a single here, I'm gonna remix that, I'm gonna add this person to it. She has a clear direction and she spends her own fucking money.
Right, and she always comes through. And like how we talk about contents for the show, just her contents and music is just whatever, it's always relevant, like during that time or whatever, versus if she's using the beats, the message that she's conveying or whatever else like that, like right now, as far as like in the voguing, as far as like with her tempos on her songs or whatever else like that, she just knows what the people want and what they be feeling from. So I don't know if she got some real good Judy girlfriend, some good gigs or whatever else like that. But she's definitely going in the right direction and to captivating, the masses because they don't play that B swarm, baby. So
Oh,
just like I said,
me.
I can't take nothing from
I
her.
chose my words correctly.
People
I ain't her
hated the
favorite
song.
fan or
People
her
were getting
biggest
on her
one.
because she was telling them to, quit their jobs and shit like that. But she ain't say quit your job, bitch, but leave that job that ain't doing you no fucking good.
Ain't doing you none.
Exactly.
And that's what I can say. And one thing that they can't say about her is that she doesn't follow through. She follow through and she don't give a fuck.
But they just kept saying, well, it's easy for this. There was like, it's easy for you to say because you and your husband billionaires. But she walked away from her dad, from her, once she fulfilled all her obligations to her record company, she walked away from it. That could have been damaging to her because she didn't have, now at that point she had her and Jay-Z, but they had money. But that could have been very damaging to her career walking away. And it probably has. People don't realize that she has been hated on by commercially. Beyonce don't win all these awards. You don't see her at the grant. She goes to these awards, but she don't win. She hasn't won awards in years.
Right. And she doesn't frequent them. And I don't even think that she really cares about
I mean, you want the accolades from your hard work, especially from your peers. But since she did that Super Bowl performance, she hasn't been getting any. Her mother spoke out against that. She really has not been getting a lot of opportunities. So that's why she creates her own, because people just see her as this renegade, and then the black people they halfway support her.
And I do get that. Like, when anybody is successful, whatever, yes, we do want our accolades or whatever. But I think the most prominent point is with Beyonce is that she no longer needs anyone's validation. And I think that's what basically switched for her and needing no validation from nobody. That's what I mean. Like, that's why she is that. She is that. She needs no validation. She's going to do it. She's going to, follow through, and can't nobody say nothing about her in that regard. I'm sorry. I'm not her biggest fan. I ain't even going to lie to say that I'm, the favorite one. I listen to her music all day long, but what I do listen to or whatever I enjoy. And she is definitely that. And she's still relevant. It'll never be another Beyonce.
People just can't, they can't.
She's one of a kind.
I can't speak for other races because they will think they will love what they want to love. But we are so hard on her. Like, we make her sister seem like she's just the best. And she fucking mediocre. And there would not be a Solange if there was not a Beyonce.
That is true. That is
it's like there would not be a Tamar Braxton if it was not for a Tony. I just had to throw that one out there.
Absolutely true.
I just had to give you that. But people just
I think
hate on her so much.
Beyonce started to embrace her culture and her ethnicity more. You know what I mean? It was fine when she just had on, her
was making you dance.
Wigs and you know what I'm saying, and was doing all that, and was our little. But when she really came into that sauce and fierce,
that's our
and was like, I got this hot sauce in my bag.
Right, that's our internal racism within our culture. We have issues with colorism. Like, people don't see us as a fully black woman, even though her mom is Creole, but she's still black.
Right.
Her dad is hella black. Like, that's all it is. We have a problem with that. People hated Whitney in the beginning. They didn't like Whitney till she started getting hot.
Okay.
So they could relate to the drug abuse. That's when they started loving her. But by that time, they was already laughing at her. But they hated Whitney. They remember they was booing her at award shows.
Right. But I think that when Beyonce, for lack of words, because like I said, I'm not her biggest fan, but I can't take anything from her. But I think that when she was being or appearing in her image to be more artificial, you know what I mean? And what the masses is used to, like I said, the lace fronts and everything else like that. But when B started putting them braids in her head, and you know what I mean? And it wasn't only about selling sex, what they know in that genre, R&B and everything else like that. When she was coming out with these songs that was, having messages and, like I said, didn't need no validation. Like, I'm a black woman. This is what's going on. When she started, what I'm saying, making music about, the controversial stuff and all that was going on in the world and things of that nature. her having this, this billionaire husband, and they just conform to what wasn't the norm anymore for them. You know what I'm saying? They don't care. They don't give a fuck. They getting money. They having kids. They having their kids, and they started really showing that they love Black people. And I think, like I said, when it be like that, and it's us for us, then we take a little this. I don't even know. I'm a lost for words, but yeah, that's my opinion on that. I don't be a lost for words. Like I said, I ain't her biggest fan, but you can't take nothing from her. And I just think that when she really, really got real, and they need that validation from the white folks or Black folks or whatever else like that, she was hated for it. She was hated.
And it's something that happens for a lot of artists. Like that's a crossroad that many artists have. Like you just want to be real, and she's getting older, so she's just being more real about herself. And I just hate. And I'm not a fanatic. I would never call myself a beehiver. No one never would fit.
Right.
But I just think we hate on each other so much.
We do.
Like, you can't say nothing. You can't say shit about her. Yeah, she's not the best singer in the world. She should stop doing movies. But hey, let her keep doing it. I'm not gonna come see it.
She should stop doing movies.
Yeah, I think she should stop doing movies.
Yeah, I second that. Girl, you can sing and you can perform, but
she did well. I only liked her in Taylor that record, but that was it. But other than that, she's not Whitney or Diana Ross or, in terms of Black singers who could really cross over and be actresses.
But she's Beyonce. Beyonce, baby.
Okay. But I still think
that's me not being a fanatic or whatever else like that. But she's Beyonce, and I think sometimes we do too much of that. Like people who respectfully, are talented in their own lane or whatever they bring to that. Period. And us in our culture, we do too much of that. We do too much comparing. Oh, they can be good, but it ain't no Whitney.
I'm just saying
he can sing, but he's not Luther Vandross. Like that. I'm just saying.
But those people had seamless acting careers. I just, as an actor, more so as a director, I wouldn't even judge her as another actor. As a director, I want you that ain't your lady.
Oh yeah, and I said I agree with that. It's not. But the spectacular thing though about her is that it doesn't have to be her lane.
It doesn't.
She tried it. And it was given a no.
It was given no show. It was given those fest. It was given like, no, this not for you.
That went muted because someone's calling. But that's how spectacular she is that it don't have to be her lane. She ain't gotta do that. The fans was calling for that.
But that's why I wanted to stop.
The people in the music scene, they wanted her. I bet you all the movies she acted, she never had to try out. They were giving roles.
That's the thing. That's the thing because she's trying to be Lena Horne, and I want her to no. No.
Yo, all right, that's it. On that note, thank you. That was a great talk. Some great talk right there. Beehive, y'all see them? Here, let me put their names back up so you can know.
And I ain't coming for y'all. We love Beyonce.
I don't hate it. I'm just saying, stay in your lane.
But I can't act
their social media right there.
Look
at them there.
I love that part of her.
Social media right there.
Hey, come on! I need some more followers. Come on. Get them comment sections up. Come on.
Right. Come on. Let us know what you feel like. Comment along with us.
Let's talk about
this. This is horrendous. So 3 women. I think they have been arrested at this point. Yeah, police arrest Pearl Orzoria, 27. Chitara.
Are you showing the movie clip? Are you showing the clip?
I'm about to show the whole entire fight. Hold on 1 second. Placencia, 25, and Tatiana Johnson, 23. They were both charged with mischief charges.
Mischief charges?
Now, these 3 women were arrested for injuring 2 restaurant workers and causing hundreds of dollars in damage. Just because they were going to be charged an extra $1.75 for extra sauce.
You know what?
Oh
yeah,
let's look at the video.
I got some shit to say.
Check this video out first.
Just like that.
Llama a la policía. Llama a la policía, llama a la policía, llama a la policía.
Can anything ever be that damn serious?
Now, who mother got smacked? Who would one of their mothers got stabbed or what happened? What they did to one of their mothers?
Nothing. Girl,
What
this
happened?
was over.
Story you
This was
talking
over
See,
Dunkin'
that's
sauce.
Girl, I am embarrassed.
Let me just say something.
Like,
And I felt like this before the pandemic, but since the pandemic, we are being charged 3-4 times the amount. We are paying, everybody want tips now. I don't give a fuck what your job profession is. You want a tip.
Yeah.
I'm about to put a tip jar on my side and just walk around with it. I'm about to make a net that just got a tip jar on it and just put that shit there.
yes.
We're tipping everybody in addition to us already paying, especially with these restaurants. Every restaurant now asks for a tip. The tip is, bitch, find a job that's gonna pay you better. That's the tip for you. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do no demolition on nobody's restaurant because I know that costs a lot. And I'm sure whatever they go charge them ladies with, they'd have boosted up the price, even though they got insurance. But besides that, these prices are ridiculous, and I be wanting to slap the shit out somebody. The market, the restaurants, the corner store,
Yeah.
the gas station.
But that's what the times are calling for. And then, I mean, you know, everything is like fluctuated in price and everything else like that. And if you that mad, just don't patronize them no more, or just don't go there no more. But that right there over whatever it was is just absurd to me.
Because that's all they're gonna make them bring the prices up higher because they had to fix all that stuff, even though they got insurance. But I'm saying I'm not there where they were, but I'm a couple steps behind them. Because these price hikes is fucking ridiculous.
It is frustrating.
We're still paying $5 for one chicken wing.
Yes.
The fuck?
It is. It's frustrating, but you know, just the acting that I think, you know, this time and age, response is everything. How you respond to things. And my whole thing is, y'all
though,
doing
like
that.
all of that, they did all of that, but what made it worth it You went to prison. You're going to jail now for $1.75.
Right. So
I'm
your
just
point.
saying, but y'all not
That was
tired of paying all these fucking absorbent prices? Now, I'm not saying I would do that. I'm not justifying their actions, but I've been that man. I've been in a restaurant and got my receipt recently and saw all them fucking extra charges on the bill.
Yeah, I can get it. And that's what I say. Then you have that option not to patronize them anymore.
Exactly.
Or,
That
or
is
not
your
to go
option.
there. You know, of
$1
course,
for
me
a
being
sauce?
frustrated over a price that I know right now during this time is fluctuated, period. You know, yeah, I could waste my energy and be, yeah, it is ridiculous, just like how we saying about the gas and everything else. But the reality is that's the situation now. That's what it's calling for. So,
But I really think, and
what am I going to do?
When we did the show last week, that's one of the things that we were talking about. Like, will we be able to sustain like boycotts again? And I really feel like no, because people just want what they want when they want it, and they're willing to pay whatever for it. But there has to be a cap off, because I went into a store and here in Baltimore City, you pay 5 cents for a bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the smallest bag that couldn't fit shit I bought in it was 5 cents. Then they charged 10 cents for another bag that couldn't fit shit in that I bought. And then it just went up to $1. Like, so they
You see, that's the thing about this rule that I still don't understand about that. Like, I didn't think the whole implementation on this rule was for them to offer different prices on the size of the bag. It was just supposed to be a bag tax, period. Not for you to charge a price list on bag size. That's not what the intention of this was.
And some stores are doing that. Some stores are doing that. Or the quality of the bag has gone down now that I'm paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck
But you were always paying. That's the thing about it. You were always paying for the bag. It was the bag was taken into consideration of the price of the product.
Paper
So I don't understand why people are even trying to do this upcharge, and you still had to buy these bags for your merchandise. Period.
Right.
You still had to do that. That's still accounted for in the price of your product. That's what that whole entire thing about building the price of a product is, that you have to take into account all of your expenses.
And we've all worked in some type of food industry place, whether it be market or fast food or restaurant, and that's called paper costs. That's paper costs.
That's why it doesn't make sense. When you told me that the other day. Yeah, matter of fact, what's the place? What's the place? I need the name.
It's the it was called the Lot Store, the Urban Outlet down on Lexington Street.
Yeah, on Park
and Lexington.
Yeah.
Park and Lexington.
Yeah, that's how everybody do, though. With all these rules and when stuff come through and it's implemented, people always got to put that twist on it and take advantage.
Right, but that's illegal. I think the twist is illegal because it's a tax. It's not a cost.
Right.
This is a tax.
Now you have stores, and I've noticed this more at gas stations.
None of the stores understand what the law is, because
if you're telling me you put 10 cents on a bag and the law says it's only supposed to be 5 cents, then you're doing something wrong.
Oh no, they're charging.
But
they're not
now
I've been in markets that have like the bags or whatever they charge.
Reusable bags.
Yeah, they charge you for each bag. But that's
different. You're buying a bag, you get a product.
Yeah.
That's different.
Right.
If they're offering you a bag that you're supposed to bring back and forth every time you come, you bought a product. That bag belongs to you. If it's a plastic bag, you're being taxed on plastic, not on the bag.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm talking about even the regular bags, not even the ones that are deemed to be the reusable ones that are made out of other materials other than plastics. Yes, they are charging per bag.
Right, but no, that part I don't get either. When you charge somebody for a paper bag, the paper bag is the alternative to plastic, and that's what I don't get.
McDonald's is doing it, baby.
No, so McDonald's, you go in there and you order from the little kiosk, and you click no bags, and they'll still give you a bag. So that just debunked that one. So fuck McDonald's.
Okay, thanks for that tip.
They say no bag, and they still will put it in a bag. But I'm noticing, like at gas stations or smaller stores, they'll just put I'll put my stuff in the turnstile, and that should have sit there. And I'm like, you didn't give me no bag.
5 cents.
Bag. Well, when you gonna ask me if I'm supposed to carry this shit out the store? You didn't even ask me. You just assuming. And then people don't even want to bag your stuff up no more.
Nope. And the reusable
The
bags
bag.
like that, how we got used at the market, they so unsanitary.
Yeah.
Like I bring my stuff and everything else like that. Like I had to just wipe out the bags, the other day because I noticed, it might just be the trinkets of what I got before, whether it's the stuff falling off of the onions or I didn't grab this and stuffed and leaked in the bag and all that. And I was
bought
like,
the nylon, and I don't have any with me right now, but I bought those nylon reusable bags. You can get like 10 of them for like $19.99 on Amazon. I just went out and bought them because I was like, I'm not gonna keep buying bags. You can tie it into like and make it a keychain. And I was like, I'm not gonna keep buying these bags. Like, what the fuck am I paying for all these bags for?
Yes.
They don't even want, like, you go to the market, they don't even want to bag your stuff up no more in those bags.
They don't. And then when you buy the reusable ones, when you get in the store, shit, you done forgot the ones that's in the car and you buying them again. You buying them more because, I got a bag by stuff I can't run out to the car. It's just a mess.
Yeah, I normally keep 2 of them with me though, because you can tie, they fold into themselves. And they like got a little case that they come in. So I keep like 2 of them with me. But because it's just frustrating. Like I didn't have I understand, like, because I'm seeing bags, I'm seeing less like debris and stuff like that on the streets. But at the same time, it got out of hand. I was used to going to Sam's Club and putting your shit in the box and bringing it home. But there was a casement for it. You wasn't charging me for that box to bring home on top of upcharging me on everything in this fucking store.
Right.
Like that's the part that behooves me. Because I'm upcharged. You charge me extra for every fucking thing in the store. And I gotta buy a bag to put the shit in. Like that's the part that I'm over.
And that, like I said, that
dummy,
cost is supposed to be,
Brandon.
It should be inside. And I don't even think they should be charging. They should have to put that price on the receipt. No. But it's a tax. That's why they have to do it. But it should still be.
But is that tax being paid to the city?
Have to just pay that money.
But is that tax being made to the city, or they're
It is. That's why That's why they have to put the bag tax on the receipt because it's a tax.
Why are we paying a bag tax?
It's
plastic.
Not a tax.
It's to get rid of plastic. It's to make you pay for what you do to the environment.
But I'm thinking about because there are senior centers or senior homes around here. I'm thinking about because we remember right when they first started it, they didn't use any plastic bags. They just was giving these paper bags. And I'm thinking about these elderly people who already got to carry that shit home. But now you gonna give them 5 fucking paper bags to carry.
And the paper bag late, like what? I don't even take them when they go to give me the paper bag.
I didn't know, but see, I have to look into this law even more, a little bit further because I don't think they should be charging you for paper bags.
They're
charging for paper bags. But plastic was it, you were supposed to be paying this tax for your own impact to the environment. So that's what the tax was for plastic bags.
Right.
Because you're not supposed to sell plastic bags no more. Now, when it comes to paper bags, I don't think that's right. I don't think that was included in the law, but I'm not sure on that. So I am going to check on that.
But I know they charge, and I'm going to just start with Safeway. Safeway charge me for a paper bag.
And that's what I was ready to say because some of these bags consistency, I guess, is not supposed to be plastic, but it looks just like plastic. I remember getting into it with somebody and said, wait a minute, I thought they banned plastic, but now they charging you for it.
But I can see when it comes to specialty bags, like when my Shoppers is now closed, so I don't have a supermarket that I go to every day now. But when they were open and this bag tax first went into effect, they got rid of all the plastic bags. They ended up bringing them back, but they had got rid of all the plastic bags and they opted for the paper bags that had the handles. Right. Now I can see paying a little bit more for that because that's specialty. That wasn't their original paper bags. If you use original paper bags, it was just the paper bag and a handle, and you had to carry them.
Aldi's and Bryce right now, them before all that ban, they've been charging for their bags.
Right, but you got to realize too, their bags were also specialty. It was that thick plastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it made sense for them to charge for that because the bags were reusable all around the house. I remember I used to fill them up with cat litter.
I used to always take I never threw them away. If
that was a bag that I put on the
I was using them for a trash bag.
Yeah.
Right. I put them on the bathroom door. That's the trash bag for the bathroom.
But it made sense for them to charge for those because those were actually specialty bags. They were very thick plastic. It was it was a very rare chance that they would break on you, especially if you were walking to a bus stop or something like that. So
Very
those were
good quality
convenient to pay
goods.
for those. And then you knew up front that you had to pay for them.
Yeah.
Now, somebody like Aldi who actually charged you to pay for a cart.
But
Well,
you
that's
get
they're
your,
not, but you get your
back.
money back.
You
That's
get
so
your
you can
coin
put your
back.
card back.
Yes.
Which is
And so
very
they,
smart
but
in the urban community because it stopped the theft of them carts.
That's
what that was for.
I had to
I
tell a
mean, I
person
was
one
gonna
time,
say-
he was like,
Coin in
I
the
was going to
cart.
say so they didn't have to pay a cart person, but we
Okay.
can go with that too.
Yeah, but all back too. So it wouldn't steal the carts, and so that you had to take it back. You know,
Yeah.
for the cleanliness or whatever. I'd rather do that than now how a lot of these markets
But
price
they
right
did
and them had
that.
to
I
set up
remember.
where
Y'all
I had to
remember?
leave my
Y'all remember
groceries at the
Lemarts?
curb and
Right.
go get my car
Right.
and come back.
But y'all remember
It's too much.
Lemarts?
What is
Lemart
it?
that used to be out Glen Burnie. They started doing the carts that you had to take back to get your coin back.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. That was when I was
and I
real
think
young.
I would rather do that. I would do that.
But
Yeah.
that's an economic thing that they're doing to save from having to hire a new person. I get that.
Mm-hmm. To have
Because
somebody
the
have to go
person that's just dedicated to that,
do
so now
cart
put your damn
service.
cart back. And if you don't put your
Right.
cart back, you gave us a quarter. I think that's a fair
Right.
exchange.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just think all these fees are it's too much.
It's so redundant. It
Way
is.
you can't blame every damn thing. I went into a store. All I wanted was the little butterscotch crumpets. That's all I wanted. The little 3-pack of
Oh,
butterscotch crumpets. I
yes.
didn't need it because I need to
What it
regulate my
was,
sugar.
$2.50? What they wanted,
No, they
$3?
were $2.67. I said, what the fuck?
That's a third.
That
Yeah,
is
little tasty
ridiculous.
cakes, little Swiss rolls, and all
So
that.
Right.
it's-
If you
Is
go into
Tasty
Rural
Cake
Farms and you
charging
want
you
a
more?
little tiny Snicker, you're gonna pay upwards of $2.29 for it.
I was just like, are they charging y'all more to
Oh,
bring
my
this shit
God.
to the store?
I don't know. What's
Like,
the difference?
and then I
if
understand the gas. I do. I get it. I understand that. But I cannot imagine everything costing, especially for a market that's buying supplies every week from you. And I know a truck driver who has his own trucking company, and it costs him $2,000 every time he fills his truck up. So I get it. I get it. But I just can't take all these extra fees.
Yeah.
Regulatory, you go to like Grubhub, you got the regulatory fee, you got the delivery fee, you got
Make
the
me not want to
processing
get nothing to
fee.
eat. Right.
And remember the COVID fee
And I
used to
don't.
be up
I don't
there?
use those
Baby.
services no more.
It makes me get in my car and just, if I can't go
Exactly.
get it, then
I'll go get it. Especially
just put a light to me. I can't understand how a $10 meal turned into a $45 one.
when the pandemic was heavy.
And when
the
it comes,
pandemic was heavy, I would be doing Chick-fil-A.
like that. Yeah.
And I've got notices from Grubhub and Instacart because the littlest thing, don't send me no napkins, I'm reporting it. You will give me my money back. Let this be a temperature under what it's supposed to be. I want my money back.
Yes.
You're not gonna charge
That's
me.
how I started doing, baby. I said no. I want this substitute. I'm allergic. I want my money back.
I'm sick.
I'm allergic to that. I
got indigestion because the food was cold.
Yes. It's a mess.
Oh my goodness, y'all got some
every
good
time.
conversation tonight. All right, listen, let's move on to this bodega incident where another New York story. So it says, according to police, a young mom tried to buy a bag of chips for her daughter, but her card was declined. She went to find her boyfriend, who came bursting in and shoved the clerk behind the desk. So this is the image of.
Why didn't you just buy the chip? I'm sorry.
The image of the clerk and the guy that came in. So
who's the clerk and who's the guy?
The clerk is in the blue shirt. And you see the knife in his hand, and he stabbed him and killed him.
Every time I hear about
a lot of the questions on this is was this self-defense?
But what happened? Say what happened again?
So a young mom tried to buy a bag of chips for her daughter, but her card declined. So she went to find her boyfriend, who came bursting into the store and shoved the clerk behind the counter. The bodega worker, all right, so the rest of the story is the bodega worker is facing second-degree murder charges after allegedly stabbing a man who came behind the counter and shoved him in a clash captured on surveillance camera. So there's a video. The July 1st incident occurred at a convenience store in Upper Manhattan. Jose Alba, 51, claims he was acting in self-defense against a violent patron. According to police, like I said, the young mom came in to purchase a bag of chips for her daughter. Her card declined. She went to find her boyfriend. He came in, went around the counter and shoved Alba. Alba grabbed a knife and fatally stabbed the 34-year-old boyfriend, who reportedly had a long criminal record. The mayor condemned the store owner's arrest, stating that it should have never taken place because it was self-defense. Alba's bail was set at $250,000, but in wake of the public outcry, it was reduced to $50,000. He was released after spending 6 days in Rikers Island. Alba is due back in court on July the 20th. So, I guess the main question on this is: Do you guys think this was self-defense?
Like I gotta keep mentioning it.
I see these stories. It's hard. If I don't see the video, it's kind of hard for me to judge, because did he get smart with the lady? Did she feel, embarrassed, and then went got the boyfriend who tried to defend her because she was embarrassed? Like, what's the whole story?
Right, but even in what you just said, though, when you break that all down, did he say something to her that was offensive, but he didn't put his hands on her?
Right.
Did he do something? Did she do something to make her go get her boyfriend, but he didn't put his hands on her?
Yeah, but
he
it's
then
still,
burst into the store and immediately put his hands on him.
But see, a lot of, and
I
understand
first?
You don't put your hand, and that's a good lesson in not putting your hands on nobody.
Exactly.
Right. But at the same
that's
time,
the whole point.
A lot of these store owners, and not putting the blame simply on store owners, but in a lot of cases, these store owners are very disrespectful. And I'm not saying violence reaction is the answer, but you can't keep, like we just said in the beginning, you can't just say whatever the fuck you want to say to people and don't think somebody will come back and defend that person.
Right.
Like, and I've seen too many situations like that. And I'm sorry, if you did something disrespectful, I said you deserve to get punched or beat up, but watch your fucking mouth, sir. You won't spend time in right.
I definitely get all of that. I certainly do, because I know me just being a Black woman and patronizing these stores or whatever. So I know that the disrespect for us is on an all-time high. But also in the same regard of me knowing that I stopped patronizing a lot of these businesses. And like, even for the life of me, if my car was in line, you said a bag of chips and going to getting somebody, I just don't know if the way that he ran that store and behind that counter, regardless of what, wants that.
Right,
like,
because
why?
what was the anger?
Like we said, at the end of the day, regardless of what he said, he ain't put his hands on her.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So what was the
daughter.
anger? That she went and got him to pay for the chips?
Go
like,
to
why you just didn't come back in and pay for the chips?
Yeah,
like,
but you gotta look at the history of a lot of these stores, especially the ones in our neighborhood, where they'll be very disrespectful to you. Like, if your card get declined, it's something disrespect, whether they throw it. I've had my card thrown at me. I haven't had a decline, but I've had my card thrown back at me. Like, if I complained about how I was being talked to or treated, then it's like, well, here's your money back.
And you never went back, right?
And I never went back.
Okay.
But that's just my temperament. But some people just not built like that, where it's a retaliation. But a lot of this stuff stems from how people are treated in these stores. Not justifying him coming back in that store, but for him to already be armed with a knife means that there's a certain culture in that store already. And I'm sorry, I've seen stores that never had to put glass
it's
up.
New York though too, so
yeah, but still, it's the environment. If I have to be in a location where I gotta put glass up, I'm not plastic up. I'm not. Fuck that. I'm not gonna have my store in that location. If I don't feel comfortable having an open store,
I mean, but that's hard to say. I mean, like, again, this is still New York. I mean, it's not. It's like every place.
But it's in general. If I don't feel comfortable having a store where it's open, my store not gonna be there. New York or any other city. I hate to go into a store where they got plexiglass up. I just, it's something about that. It's an assumption about the neighborhood, and whether they've already experienced theft or fights or not. This man was already.
But I mean, in a lot of cases, though, it's not the assumption; it's the truth.
Right.
Yeah, but so why are you there then? Like, because for people like me, like in my neighborhood,
Okay,
it's not.
Real
it's
quick,
not
let me interject something real quick.
Because
It's July 10th. It's July 10th, right? Today is July the 10th at 9:26 p.m. Why does it sound like there's a war outside in my neighborhood?
Well, I mean, you live in Harbor West, so.
But it's fireworks right now. I'm looking at the lights coming through my window, like, and it made me twitch a little bit. It made me go like this a little bit, like.
But it's the
bombs are bursting
bodega
in air.
selling them.
The bombs are bursting in air. Like, what's happening? Is it a war?
Well, you live in Harbor West, so it
No,
kind of.
I do not live in Harbor West.
You live in
so
Harbor
cute.
West, so it's like well, yikes.
Harbor Central.
Damn.
You live Harbor adjacent, so it's a little,
It's a little through and through. All the ethnic backgrounds. It's definitely a mixture.
I mean, but all right, let's get back to the story.
All
I
the
just wanted to
baby.
interject that in there real quick because
You might be celebrating.
the
You
lights
never
are
know.
coming through my window. But
bombs bursting in the air.
it's bombs bursting in the air right now. Like it's a war zone outside.
The red glass, and it ain't my hair.
And I'm trying. I'm just trying to figure out, like, though. I mean, but all right. So, if you put yourself in the shoes of a prosecutor, would you be prosecuting this case?
It's hard. It's hard to say it
I
because
don't know what their
I can't
self-defense laws are or whatever else like that, but for whatever reason, I don't want to speculate into so much because, like you said, Nate, we don't have the video. We don't know what all occurred. So I'm sure that all of that played a part of it. It probably was more than it was toward in this video. But then I also
look at the
understand
positioning of this. Look at the position of this. This is apparently behind the counter. So you came in my space.
And that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, even if it was a whole bunch tour, and even if it wasn't, we just speculating on that. I definitely do.
Did he just simply push you?
Agree with him coming in his space. He got the right to defend himself because the way that we are still aware of that they can disrespect us, him being a business owner in this community, I'm sure this is not his first occurrence or whatever. So that's why he was ready. And unfortunately, he's probably been pushed before. He's probably been cussed out before. If he got shields on, he's probably already had this before done to him or whatever. And he was ready.
Has the pandemic then been declared over?
And he was ready.
It's just, and I get all sides of this. But it's hard for me to just blame the customer. It really is. Because I've been, especially a lot of the stores in the neighborhoods I used to live in, you get disrespected a lot.
Right. And that's you going off of your experience. Right. But that's what I'm saying on the backside of it, even though a lot of times I'm not for all that, is that I know in the retrospect too, because a lot of couple of these store owners and stuff, I might have, I guess we are acquaintances or associates from patronizing the store. And a lot of them, their attitude is not like that. But the customer's attitude is. So that's why I said I look at it on both hand sides. So I can't speculate who was wrong and who disrespected who. But what I'm saying is that if it hadn't happened, that he killed him and he burst in this store and stabbed the clerk, then he definitely would be wrong. So because the story would change. We would be saying that he ran in the store to stab this clerk because his girlfriend's card declined and for whatever reason he was upset. So when you think about it like that, that's what I'm saying. I don't blame the store clerk.
But should the laws be in a space where self-defense, it has to be a match? Like if the other guy had a weapon, you get to have a weapon. And that is what qualifies as self-defense. Because,
but I think he could definitely not imagine, but presume that he did to run in his store like that and up on him. That's what I'm saying. See, we speaking from our experience, but for the store owner, you don't even know what his experience was. Like I said, he probably been disrespected, assaulted, or whatever else before in that neighborhood.
Because there's a reason. There is also a reason why he had that knife there. There's a reason why the knife was there. The knife was present. So, I mean, it was. I mean, he still died, but I mean, I'm just trying to think in my head. Was it better than having a gun?
And it looked like a real long knife. So like I said, we don't even know if he had that knife there for that in particular. He could have just had the knife there for opening the boxes or whatever. With people, you know what I mean? Because it looks like
That looked like a butcher knife.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he had it like
that's a big ass. That's got to be
like a serrated knife, one of those army military knives.
Right.
No, that looks bigger than that because that's a wooden handle on that. That's like a wooden handle on that.
See, like a pit. He had that jail knife.
Yeah, that's a shame.
A shame.
So it's definitely a tragedy. I mean, let me be clear. You know what I mean? For whatever, like I said, we don't know. We don't know how it all happened or what, you know, far as you, because the way it's real thin, they just saying that the chips card was declined. So just telling that little bit, it don't make sense.
Yeah, and that's what I said earlier. When they write these articles or report on them, it's always a headline that don't make sense to the whole story. And this is one of those examples. Like, I need the whole story, you know. And it may be difficult to prosecute this case because you don't have all the information. But it's crazy that he got that gun in his hand. I mean, that knife in his hand like that. And the man coming in the store. That means you had that knife in your hand before you came in that store.
Actually, no. This is, like I said, this is behind the counter.
I kill you, whatever. It's just too wide open like that.
But again, I said this was behind the counter. So he had to come in the store, actually approach the counter, then go behind the counter, which is when he probably grabbed the knife.
Did you see the video of this?
I did see the video. I don't
was this one? It looked like it was a hand coming in from like the window thing. Was this that move? Was that video?
Because he's then I'm looking at his body. He's like he got his arm. The guy has his arm with the knife in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
he's like pushing him away.
Yeah,
but the incident still doesn't. You know, I mean, even with the story, you came behind the counter is the problem.
Right. Based on what they say, it doesn't equate with the response.
It lends the question: what was your point in coming behind the counter? What was your point?
Because I would have to see the video because I need to see what was. And I'm not justifying somebody coming behind the counter because I've been a manager at Royal Farms and had somebody come behind the counter and we had to tussle. Mm-hmm. But I didn't pull a knife out. You know, I had some grease.
But if there was a knife present, would you have used
grease
it?
Ready. But that's
if there was a knife present. If there was a knife present, would you have used it?
Right.
But, and then also, I said I had grease ready. I said I had grease ready.
You had grease?
I had grease ready.
You was going to make fried nigga.
No, it
was a white man. It was a white man.
You on alert, though. I bet you also put you on alert. So once that situation happened to you in the way that it happened, I know that the way you probably responded or when people were saying or acting in a certain way, it puts you on alert to say, I
knew this man in particular because he gave a lot of my black employees trouble. So that's why I was even there that night because the lady didn't want to come back because of him. So I had some grease ready. But if you came here and we tussled, but if he would have had a weapon, he would have met that grease.
It
would have been a lot of screaming and hollering and running across the parking lot for me, or for him, because I was ready. But again, I don't, even with stuff like that happening to me, I know the nature of these foreigners and these business owners in neighborhoods like that. And New York is notorious for them being very short with you and not having no patience for a question or a complaint or nothing. So I want to see what happens. So what made him come behind that fence? And I don't want them to think that man just came behind that counter and he didn't. That's all I'm saying. Like I nowadays that we have cameras and videos, which have something in your office where you can show proof of what happened, or get your camera phone out before you run back in that store to defend your girl. Like if that's the world we living in now, bring them fucking cameras out. I don't want nobody not to have a non-camera incident unless you homeless and don't have shit. Other than that, I need you to always be on guard with a camera ready.
And I get that. I just think that the way that they responded, whatever the situation was, whether it was
too much.
to some extreme disrespect, because I'm sure he probably disrespected that lady or whatever else like that.
Yeah.
But the response,
Yeah.
it still doesn't equate to that. Like, what did you think? So I can imagine that the clerk feared his life, and I know the girlfriend who went to go get her mate or whatever. I know she feel like shit right now. Rest in peace to him, but it's just not worth it. I mean, you know,
and the story
with some
probably will
words
come
and
out.
knowing how and knowing that, Nate, just like knowing how extreme things can get when it comes to the disrespect or whatever else like that. Like I don't know. I just wouldn't have went and got my boyfriend. Like if it was to be addressed,
I wouldn't have did.
And if it was to be addressed and it was so bad, like I don't know.
I get you. Like I wouldn't have did that either, because you don't know what he was like prepared to do to him. So I get that, and that's
because of that experience. But it's
just like the case that we gonna be talking about later with the squeegee boy. That man got out his car, and you don't know what somebody has prepared for you, but you don't understand what the interaction was. I need to hear what the interaction was. Who got it on camera? Somebody,
and that's why people get it twisted, because that when I say that response is everything, because in a lot of situations, even the way that we respond and to talk about it or whatever, we are responding from our experiences and how we feel about different stuff or whatever. So a lot of times it might not be a threat to you if I come or I say something a certain way, but it may be a threat to me,
right?
Or it may put me on alert or have me, That's why, baby.
Yeah. That's why I'm a person that I got to hear all sides of the story before I make an assumption on something, because you just never know in today's world on either side.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm gonna try to find that video.
Keep talking, y'all, because I'm pulling the video.
But I'm praying for his family, because it's such a tragedy, for both of them, the store owner and the guy that bought into the store. The young girl, I guess probably was her baby father, because for the trips, the babies or whatever. It's just unfortunate that they gotta live without their father now, without her loved one over a couple of declines.
And to your point, my experience has shaped how I see things. There's a liquor store at the corner of my where I live. And I remember when it was owned by this Indian couple, it was very open and welcoming, and just it was never it was a plastic partition up, but it was never like, it just looked like where they was encased. But it wasn't like when you shop at, it wasn't closed in. Soon as the Asian people owned it, they bought it from them. They put up a glass partition where it was open before. They put a sign on the door saying no hoodies. Now, that store had never been robbed before. And I've lived around there for about 9 years now. Never been robbed, never been, probably maybe somebody came in there disgruntled about a price or something. But I've never heard that store. And normally when something happens, with the neighborhood hears about it. So it's never been a robbery as long as I've lived around there. So for you to come to a neighborhood,
hit his face and had nothing to say about his self-defense case. His saga started Friday night while at work at the Blue Moon Bodega in Hamilton Heights. This woman seen on surveillance video getting mad after she's denied a bag of chips because her EBT card is not working. Her boyfriend comes in, confronting Alba behind the register, pushing the 61-year-old.
Oh yeah, that's the one, and I think that's her
video speaks for itself. And Alba stabbed 37-year-old Austin Simon in self-defense, resulting in his death. Police arrested Alba, charging him with murder, but the mayor is on Alba's side.
My heart goes out for that hard-working, honest New Yorker that was doing his job in his place of business, where a person came in and went behind the counter and attacked him. My heart goes out to that employee who was in the store doing his job. And so I am hoping that we take all of that into consideration.
After Alba's cash bond was set at a hefty $500,000, a judge agreed to lower his bail to $50,000. And the district attorney said his office's investigation is ongoing, with another court appearance July 20th.
I signed it for him.
I tried. I tried.
You tried to do a defense of that man. You actually did give a great defense for that man.
Now I saw that
without
because
all
I
the
think
information.
at some point somebody's arm was coming through the little box area.
No, they did too much, and it
Yeah,
definitely.
I did because he pushed them into.
That
Yeah,
old
see,
man.
I tried. I tried to give you the benefit of the
Once
doubt.
you pushed them and knocked them down, that
you should have walked out. Just walk
Go
back
ahead.
out.
Stop playing with people.
Yeah.
And it would have been assault, but not, yeah.
Yep.
You tried, though. You tried really, really hard. You tried.
Because but in these situations, you never know.
Yes,
because
you
we
don't.
still didn't hear what happened. But clearly, at this
Right.
point,
You did.
even if you would have
He was already must have been in the mood.
Right.
Their card declined for the chips with their EBT card.
When he said EBT, I was about to get up. I was like, bitch, like it wasn't even a debit card. It was your EBT. You know you ain't had no money on that card. Or his machine may have been down.
What you should have went out there and did was say, "Boo, come buy me these chips."
Or give me $1.
Give me $1. The EBT card ain't working.
I know. I had every.
That's sad. I told you I'm embarrassed. That's sad.
As soon as he said EBT, bitch, I was like,
So, and just like how you was making reference to like when they switched the ownership of the store, how they had a different setup and everything else like that. That's because, unfortunately, right, these people are going off of their experiences. Because sometimes, Nate, I with my black people all the time, but we not always right. And we just now seen in the situation too that they're not only right. Now, he might have responded to that man on his experiences of other store owners and stuff like that being disrespectful. But sometimes when things like this are happening, we have to step back and see things for what it really is.
And then because you have to ask the question, what was he fighting for? What are you so angry about? Why are you back here?
We didn't hear it. We didn't hear the audio, so that we don't know what sparked it. And that's the part that, like, but sir, it was an EBT. You're not gonna be fighting over no EBT.
And then even that, so, and I know he probably was being disrespectful, but this even
chips, let alone chips, not just EBT, but chips, potato chips, or Cheetos, or whatever it was.
And not even defending him anymore. But I've gone in stores and somebody's EBT card was declined, and the person was loud about, somebody give them that decency. But they were loud. It don't work. It probably ain't nothing on it. Like I've heard that, and that you already spent. You already trying to buy chips with it, though, baby. But I know that's what I'm saying. Like you trying to buy chips, baby.
It's irrational. It does not warrant you.
You had already said chips. And when she said EBT, I said, this bitch fighting over chips on the EBT. Get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah, what was it really?
We gotta stop this,
mad that she got down here. We gotta stop, y'all.
But if you look at a part of it, I don't know if that's her arm, because he gets pushed down into, I guess, whatever's on that wall.
All the stuff in the back.
And you see an arm like coming through, like trying to stop the man. So I don't know if that's her arm. It looked like it may have been a white arm. So somebody fucking up about to get their ass beat too. So stop interfering. Like before you about to get your ass beat.
Yeah. It's sad. It's a tragedy. It's sad.
I just, because oh my God. You ain't had a 75-cent for them chips?
And that's what I'm thinking. Maybe that was the thing. Like let us. You could have just let the little girl have the chips. Just give the little girl the chips. I mean, because this all could have been avoided by giving her the chips.
If that's a customer that comes in all the time, pay when you come back in, baby.
Pay it forward. Somebody behind you could have paid it forward or something. Look, I want to give the 75 cents for the chips. To make this not be real.
And I'm that person. If it's especially if it's a child or something with this, I put it on mine. I got you. But EBT, that question when they say EBT card.
He didn't have to do that. And they ain't had to do what they had to do. However, he said it is the client, no money, get out, it's whatever.
They gotta talk about this. They gotta talk about this in court. And they're gonna bring up that it was an EBT card and some chips.
As they should.
This better be one of them fucking $5 bag of chips. It better be.
Right, but it's not going to be on the
This better be on
victim.
the family side.
The person that died. It's not going to be on his court case. This is what's going to be in the defense
No, but I'm
of
saying
the owner.
she's still going to have to be in that courtroom. And it's going to be sad that she fucking tried to swipe her EBT card. I'm just saying, like, this
right, because they probably going to use her. She's
bad.
probably going to have to be a witness in his case. I mean, in the prosecution's case. But hopefully it won't even go to this point because they're probably going to have to drop these charges anyway. Because now the video actually shows him being assaulted.
Yeah, but again,
because he didn't just get up and bring that knife out like he thought. He didn't bring the knife out. He had to be approached.
In that moment.
Well, he pushed him on. It looked like
he approached. He assaulted him first.
Yeah, he tried to get out on the other side.
That man was older too. He probably was telling him
61 years old.
And the guy thought, and he just went too far.
That's what I said. But remember when they said at first he thought he was like why he had that knife in the first place, but he didn't have the knife at first. That man actually came in there, stood next to that man, and then pushed him down for him to grab the knife and then do what he had to do.
It's my nature. I try to find the good in people. And
you tried.
And I'm sure that store owner was petrified because, like, again, he's probably had an experience before where he's been assaulted or whatever. And just thinking about the situation and that it was over a bag of chips and incline, it probably just was, as absurd to him as it is to me right now. And he probably was scared.
Yeah.
He probably was scared for that life. I know, I don't play with people like, when you be outside and road rage or whatever, I might say something, but when people go too far, I know like, oh, that ain't really got nothing to do with me. Like, people is crazy and people be looking for a reason. So I don't know. Maybe him and the girlfriend was fussing before they came to the store, use a big whatever. Something else. It was
it might have been his EBT card, and he let the other girl use the card. She mad because her shit ain't
right. It's a whole lot to speculate on. It is definitely a lot to speculate on.
You could have just went to the store and bought the chips and acted like something was wrong with the machine, and you didn't even know. But she know it was money on her card, and you was the last one with it, so you wouldn't.
All right, let's move on. Let's keep it moving. Amber Heard. Okay. So sick of her.
I heard she won't stop.
She will not stop. So her insurance company is now refusing to help pay some of this $8.3 million that she is due in damages to Johnny Depp. So their policy.
They want to get their money.
Here it is. Heard had a $1 million liability policy with New York Marine and General Insurance Company, which she had hoped that might cover at least a portion of the damages that she owes to Johnny Depp. The policy covers wrongful conduct in various sorts, including defamation, because that's what she was charged with. But there's a clause which will likely see the insurance company refusing to pay out. The clause states, so it says, under California law, the state in which the insurance policy was issued, the company claims to be able to refuse the $1 million payout if Heard was found to have committed willful misconduct. And we all know it was willful because she was lying on, when you lie, that's willful. You willfully lied.
I mean, file for bankruptcy or something.
So it says that the New York Marine Company says that they are that in their determination, the judge found the defamation committed by Amber to be both willful and malicious. The insurance company now wants to see the judge declare that they are not going to be on the line to foot part of Amber Heard's bill. So they must be taking her out because that's not what this article said at first. So they are taking her to court too.
Who's taking her to court?
This insurance company, because they feel as though they're not responsible for paying her claim.
So, this is her personal claims insurance.
This is her liability insurance, for being an actress.
Oh, well, that had nothing to do with being an actress.
Well, no, this is for her. This is her actor's
Yeah,
liability
but
company.
but that's if something happens in association with her being an actress. That has nothing to do. Bitch, this was at your house.
Right, but I guess it covers the person and not the job.
No, it doesn't. But no, it doesn't. That covers you if something happens to you on set, or if something happens to you in terms of.
According to this, whatever this policy is, it covered the person and not just the job, because it wasn't for a specific film.
No, it's not. It's not. But that type of insurance is not. It's not like health insurance or life insurance. It's if something happens to you, like you can get, like they said, like Whitney Houston had her throat insured, or such and such, like whatever part you.
Right, it's a general liability.
It's a general liability of their body. Many singers have their voices insured. So
right.
If something was to happen to them,
like Beyonce has her body insured. Her body is insured.
That's personal. That's that personal insurance. But it does not cover you if you defame somebody's character.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Right. So it's a general liability insurance on her body. And that's what she's using she tried to claim that this was a part of that. And they're telling her, no, because you maliciously and willfully did it is why we are not going to cover you. And now they're seeking to have a court say that this is not coverable.
Right. I mean, well, that sounds like right to me. I mean, that's just like having car insurance. And if you try to fraud them and cause an accident, I mean, we get car insurance to, in the case of an accident, in case, that shit happens. But if you're deemed to be the one responsible and who made it happen, without it being a so-called accident, they're not going to pay.
Right.
They're not going to pay out. So whatever the policy was covering, because I'm hearing that you're saying like the policy was definitely for situations where she would come up against defamation or
when you're not willfully.
Situations.
It is for those situations, but not for when you willfully lie.
Right, and you willfully cause the situation.
Yes.
You willfully cause the situation.
Right. Now, if you are being defamed and it's not of your own doing, yes, we're going to cover your penalties.
Right.
But if you are willfully trying to say somebody did this to you and then you get caught in that lie, that is a willful and there's also misconduct.
And it's defamation, and it's not an accident. It's not an incident.
Well, that's what they had to prove. That's what Johnny had to prove, that she defamed him, and that was that. But you also, in the midst of the defamation, then went into court and then lied and willfully lied.
Right. I mean,
they kept trying to urge the lie.
Right, and insurance is for something that is accidental. Something that it can happen and it's not expected, but it's a liability. You can lose something if it does happen. So most people that to get insurance, you gotta have some type of interest in it to even get the coverage for whatever. So yeah, it sounds like it's right. Why should they pay? And you caused this. This wasn't an accident. It was malicious, and you did it purposely with the sole intention to discredit this man and defame his character.
Right.
And it didn't work for you.
And it didn't work. And see, that type of insurance is not for those purposes. Like, and it's outside of the realm. Like, if it affects you being able to work.
Okay.
That's what it's intended for. Like, I think when Tasha K claimed that she had that same type of insurance, but that's liability insurance over your company.
Okay.
So they had to sue. They were suing Tasha K. So I don't think that they wasn't suing her company. So she was trying to use the business liability insurance to be able to, claim that that's how she was going to pay Cardi B, and I think that's what she's trying to do now. But there's a certain insurance where they get certain body parts insured in case something happens.
You can do body parts the whole entire body, because Beyonce, if I'm not mistaken, Beyonce's entire body is insured.
Okay,
but see, the difference is Tasha K has a business.
Legs, right? Tina Turner legs.
Yeah, like her legs. But Tina, but Like Tasha K has an actual production company. Amber may not have a business outside of her being her own brand, which means she may not have a business per se. But yeah, baby, this you better go get Elon Musk.
Like I was ready to say, if you ain't
I think
learned
she
from
should stop
Sasha
talking.
K
I mean,
or this other
if
girl,
she
then
was
I don't
a
know what to
smart
say.
person,
Watch
if
your
she was
mouth.
smart about this whole entire situation, if she was a smarter person, she would have actually maybe tried to apologize to Johnny to let this thing go and try to bury it under the rug.
Yeah.
And maybe he would have took some kindness out on her and said, don't worry about the debt. It's not about the money. He has money, a lot of it. And is earning new money now that this is over. So it's not even, but Johnny has always said this wasn't about the money. This was about correcting the
But
record.
she continued to defame him even after, even after she lost. Oh, he had his.
But that's my point. Maybe if she shuts up and
Yeah.
humbles herself a little bit and try to move on from this, because this ain't doing nothing but wrecking her own career. How do you recover from this? You're not going to recover from this.
What even happens to humbleness? Sometimes you win them, sometimes
And even
you
if
lose them.
even if they grant her another trial, everyone has seen this by now. Who can you get in the jury pool that's going to not have saw this or believe you?
But it doesn't, for me, I don't think she's learned her lesson. And that's the unfortunate part. Because let's say he really did do the things that she claimed. You're not doing this in the right way, because there was just as much evidence that showed that you were abusive to him.
It would be
so that then, if y'all had a volatile relationship, which it very may well have been, argue on that point.
But it was on both hands. It was from both hands. Yes, exactly.
You denied any wrongdoing, which made your case look invalid, because you clearly told this man nobody's going to believe that he's being beat. And there were witnesses saying that they saw him. There were witnesses that described your behavior over the years. So say this is who I was. We had a volatile relationship and he went too far. I think the public would have accepted that more, but you clearly went up there as if you were pristine and nothing was happening with you.
And anybody that's always claiming to be the victim, it's definitely suspect. And that's all I'm going to say on that. So the word is, Amber Heard, let it go and let God, honey.
I Chastity to hurry up and get this show, because I believe she just got a lot to say.
I do. Just as much as you know.
Like she got stories, what type of stories. I check her page just to see who she about to go
on. It's coming.
Right.
It's coming. This is real life, and you better live. There's a whole bunch of lives.
Y'all better watch out, because you might be on the chopping block.
Okay.
All right, I wanted to let's move on, because I got my final story for you guys.
My time is now.
The squeegee workers here in Baltimore, and the death of Timothy Reynolds. The one thing that I saw first, and I'm gonna get to Councilman Eric Costello's statement that he put on his website in a few minutes, but I want to talk about this Governor Hogan and his reward that he's offering, that he's now doubled. Looking for information in relation to this man that got killed on Pratt Street in Conway.
Yeah, because they've been despising the squeegee boys, squeegee workers. They've been
despising
them.
And that's fine. You cannot like what
the
they
majority
do.
Of us. That's what
right.
it's giving.
And you cannot like what they do, but you also got to put this in its own right. This has its own standing, because this was an incident that happened on this particular day and at this particular time, where you have to judge everything from the specifics of what happened in this event, not on the whole entire squeegee boy, era, because this has been going on for years. This is not the first time we've heard of them, and it's not just because we've given them a name now, squeegee workers or whatever the case may be. But this is one incident, and this is the only incident that we're talking about. I've never seen anybody in Hogan's administration actually put a price on somebody's head for any of the killings anywhere else. So now in this particular incident, when it's the white man, okay, Now
He
you want
got
to
out
start
his car
talking.
with a
So
bag.
Hogan made an announcement in the social media post on Saturday. He said that the state of Maryland would increase the initial reward from 8,000 to 16,000. Since when? When did they do that? For information that leads to the arrest and the conviction of the person who shot Reynolds following a confrontation in downtown Baltimore. Now, we just went through this whole entire scenario with this bodega worker and him stabbing this man in self-defense.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, how is this still not self-defense? Why are you still trying to persecute this child?
How is it?
Or whoever
and
it is. I don't know if it's a child.
And then when we touching on that, like, what would have been said if it happened differently? If we would have been talking to them young men, whoever, woman or whatever, because it's not only
Or change the
respecting
characters.
workers,
If it was a
because it's
black
all
man that
different
jumped out of the car.
Right. What if it was a nurse? And not even a race part. What if it still was that white man that jumped on his kids and he knocked one of those workers' head all the way down to the harbor and killed them or injured them badly? Then what would we be saying?
Right. So if
Would we
the
be
bat would have
saying
connected with a skull, like you're saying now, if the bat would have connected with a skull, would he be charged? Or would he be
What would we be
something
saying?
in
We would be
self-defense?
saying that he wasn't wrong? Would they be saying that, oh, he wasn't wrong, he had a right to do that, to jump out on him with the bat? Now, by all means, no, I'm not saying anyone has a right to shoot somebody for, whatever, but guess what? Self-defense.
I feel a little different about the squeegee guys and young men that's out there, and young ladies. There's a couple of young ladies.
That's what I was saying, right?
Because they're squeegee white men also. If you find the right thing. But what angers me is how we remark about them as if they're the scum of the earth. If one of this young man that I know compared them to panhandlers with a squeegee. And it does something to me because they're out there just trying to get a couple dollars. Now, granted, some of them are very aggressive in their
and willing
nature.
to do something to get the couple dollars, not just coming up to my window panhandling and asking for money for doing nothing.
Right, and I'm not even going to say aggressive. Some of them are very, in your face about getting your windows washed. And I've seen that type of aggression, but I've never had a bad experience, whether I was driving, somebody else was driving, or I was in a lift somewhere. I've never seen a bad experience with them. Now, they're really persistent. I'm not even going to say aggressive. They're very persistent with washing your car. But I've never seen them be disrespectful because all you have to, that light ain't but so long. Drive off. Say no, thank you, drive off.
All right, so I wanted to talk about some of these comments too.
Frustration coming to him.
I want to get to some of these comments too, because like one of this first comment goes, "Why not crack down on the squeegee kids?" Right, and then inside of it, the other replies to it say, "Well, why not crack down on common sense, unconscious bias, having non-melanated folks fear mongering others are unfortunate lacking when taking matters into their own hands, getting out of their car instead of driving the hell off rush hour traffic. I mean, because it's happened like at four something in the afternoon, so it was pretty busy.
And people are reporting that he made a U-turn.
So this comment says, "Why not call the authorities instead of attacking a group of squeegee kids for the unlikely act of one?"
That's what I'm saying. He knew he could. He knew he could. He know the stigma. He know the negative stigma that's put on them and everything else like that. And I agree with Nate. I've been approached on in many intersections, whatever. I've never had that experience. But I also have seen things play out where the attitude and how people interact with them, they feed into it. I remember having a situation right down by the DJS, the juvenile courthouse, where a brother pulled out a gun. And I went live about this a couple of years ago, and I jumped in the middle of that and stated license. I just couldn't let it happen, like right in front of me. But me hadn't explained to the man, like, yeah, they kids and they wrong, but you spit at him or you did this and you did that. And so what makes you think that it's okay for you to do that?
Human.
And the whole,
this is the comment that stood out to me. It says, "Never seen Larry X tips grease with a reward on other men and women that had families that did not start altercations that they could not finish." That's the one that stood out to me.
This is the black and white thing when it comes to Larry. And I'm telling you, and he's really not feeling Al Mayer or whatever else like that. So he just sits back and waiting for something else to happen to try to make
it doesn't even make sense. I mean,
to
it
make
doesn't
it
help
look
him
like, you know,
politically
we just
to even be involved in this because this is his last term.
And
He's
you
out.
would, because this is the second
that's what
time
he
that he's put a bounty on somebody's head like this.
Yeah.
right.
That's the second time, and it feels real Ku Klux Klan to me.
It do. It is. I don't live for Larry.
I don't.
I don't live for
But
Larry.
these
And
Negroes
it's
love
real
him.
Ku Klux Klanish. And especially if it's one of them. All I'm gonna say is that what was the guy name? He won't talk about that at the bar drinking a Budweiser, or how he knocked one of these young black kids or black one man or woman head in.
But when Monny sent me the photos of it, and it's my experience again, and I'm not, you know, I know what a good old boy look like. I'm sorry. I know what they look like. I went to school with them for years. I lived in neighborhoods adjacent to them for years. I know what they look like. And and that attitude that you did a U-turn in the street, went in your car and got a bed out to do what? What were you going to do to him?
That's what I said.
Like, and
if the narrative
I'm not
was
justifying again. In this case, I'm not going to go to bat for him for having a gun that probably was illegal, but having a gun on him.
But it wasn't even. So according to what I read the other day, it was a pellet gun.
Okay.
A pellet gun.
I don't know what the rules is on pellet guns because I've been shot with a BB gun before. And it wasn't back in the day, and it wasn't illegal to have.
Where was you at? This was Randall Sound.
This was Randall Sound. I've been shot right in here.
Lord.
Matter of fact, I don't even think I got the bruise no more.
Did they hurt? What they feel?
It did hurt at the time. Yes, I was young.
But all that blood, I don't know how true that is because some of the.
But it didn't break the skin. What it did is it welled up. It didn't break the skin. So I don't know where he was shot at to be dead.
Well, shooting you with a.
That ain't look like no pellet.
It went off by accident. I mean, whoever had it. I mean, a friend of mine had it, and it went off by accident. I wasn't shot like pow directly. It was like pow, and it hit me in my arm, in my elbow right here.
That had to be a bullet pellet. Because just from some of the pictures of the scene, it's just too much blood.
That's what I said. I don't know what what it was that he had to make it that it was make him die.
I get you.
That's why I say even for the guy in the bodega, I need to see the whole story because we can't keep letting narratives get out there like that. Now the family about to do a vigil on what was that? Where was they at? Down by the harbor. They're about to do a vigil down there. And is this a narrative that come out? Because your son shouldn't have got the fuck out that car with no bat. They shouldn't even have turned around, should have kept going. Because I got him yelling, I got him yelling something out the car. It wasn't even, they probably didn't even approach that man, but him yelling something from another lane on another side of the street, and the kids probably talking back to him, and he felt like he could just come around and take care of one of them.
Like get the F out of the street and stuff like that. And that's what I was touching on, where I have seen situations and stuff where it got escalated, but always I always seen that it was the driver instigating who had, you know what I mean, to get them to respond in such a manner.
You pulling up with that on your chest already. You haven't even you probably haven't even talked to these boys or talked to these people out there for you to even drive up with that. Because the comments that I was responding to, I can't stand them. I said, but you drove up with that attitude.
Yeah.
So I can imagine what you physically said to them if they did come up to your car. So you came there with that attitude. They didn't cause it, and they human. If somebody get your ass off the street, man, fuck you, bitch.
That's what I said. And approaches everything. Everything. That was the disconnect that the BPD didn't understand. that the Baltimore Police Department didn't understand. Like, you approach somebody cussing and fussing, what do you think going to be that response? Y'all come and y'all instigate.
If what they say is correct, they did the U-turn, got out the car, got it back, and approached them. What you think he was do?
Right. And just like I said, if it was done the other hand, and I wonder what he would have been saying, or Hogan would have, if he would have doubled that award, if it happened the other way. If that man got out and did what he was intending to do with that bag, and he killed one of the squeegee workers, and then flee the scene with Al Governor be enhancing that what's name where he be so saying,
Right.
oh, because this worker, this squeegee worker has a family. It's just I don't like it.
But we already
I
see
like
the narrative being developed now. We see it because this is gonna give them carte blanche. Because the same thing I messaged back to Monny, this is gonna give them that leeway to now go on some night
make it illegal. To
Right.
make it illegal to lock these young brothers and sisters out. And I keep on saying young because that's just traditionally
well,
what
they
we
young.
know as
These
the
ain't 30,
squeegee
40
workers
year
to
old
be.
men.
But we know everyone is doing it. Like you mentioned the other day, it's homeless. You know, it's
There's
homeless
white
people
men out there doing it.
Yes, white men, white women, all of that out there doing squeegee. Yes, they are. But just like I said, if he had got to do what he intended to do with that bad, would the governor had the same response? Or if he flee the scene, so what?
No, because I don't think he would have.
Of course, I can empathize
He
with
wouldn't
any
have even
certain laws.
commented on this. See, that's the thing. He wouldn't. I believe he wouldn't even have commented on this if that was a black man.
And I believe that he would have. I believe if he would have commented, though, he still would have tried to use the legitimacy of like the squeegees is illegal. I mean, you saying if it was a black man that jumped over the bank?
On that tip, I'm talking about the reward. I'm talking about this reward business that would not have been offered or even garnered
And if
any
it was a
response
black
from
man
him.
that jumped up with that bag, he would have seen it as we all are saying it now that he had no business.
I'm trying to remember the first time because this I believe this is the second time that he's put a bounty on somebody's head, and I'm trying to remember the first time what had happened for him to do it again. And it's just, first of all, stay in your lane. Stop jumping. If you're not gonna be supportive of Baltimore, and I say this to visitors, to people who just move here, get the fuck out.
I'm just saying, because this is what it says. The state of Maryland is offering an additional $8,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of whoever is responsible for the murder of Timothy Reynolds. That statement right there drives me absolutely fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Because in his eyes, he should be convicted of murder and not asked, was it self-defense? What happened to the investigation on considering this might have been self-defense?
Or like we know it's no self-defense here in Maryland, but at the most, it definitely is involuntary manslaughter. I don't mean no harm because even I guess the person who ever pulled the trigger, whatever the situation was before he jumped up with that bat, I don't think their intention was to murder him. They again responded to what they know. I mean,
how you offered. They responded to what he offered.
To the situation. This man jumping out with a metal bat, a bat, period. But it definitely was a real
but it was your,
and
then it's all based on what your intent was. What was your intent? Your intent was you pulled over, got out of your vehicle, retrieved the bat. So now your intent is to use the bat.
Yes.
Well, his intent now.
But you wasn't intending. There was no baseball. There was no baseball. There was no softball. There was no ball in the equation. So your intent was to assault somebody with a bat, which is attempted.
And you know what it makes me think too? Because remember, we always talking about experiences. This makes me really believe that this wasn't this guy probably first time.
Again, right,
some
exactly.
type of negative interaction with these group of spinways. So even though he was jumping off their bat and he had intentions, he wasn't intending on any of them.
We're seeing on the news. We're seeing on the news, social media all the time where something is happening and they feel like they can just get out their car and come confront somebody. Like that's all that it is. Like you can't keep
that entitlement
doing that because the way that sounds. Like if you had to bust a U-turn to get back to them, that means you wasn't even going in the direction of where they were.
Yes.
So that means something had to be shared, like vocally back and forth, for you to feel like you had to get out your car.
Yeah.
And do something about it.
Right.
I don't like the narrative that the squeegee boys, and there has been incidents, but like you just said, and like I was saying, you drive up with that on your chest already.
Yeah.
You came to that intersection where they were with that on your chest already, and that becomes how you then react to them. Get the fuck away. I heard it. Get the fuck away from my car. You
Yeah.
got to do that. A simple no thank you. A simple roll your window up and face
Yeah.
forward.
And simply ignore them. And
Right.
simply ignore them.
That's it.
All you
And
gotta do
simply
is act
ignore
like you
them.
got something in you gotta get something out your purse.
Right.
You don't even have
But
to
that's
do
not,
that. Just
if you
face
give it,
forward.
if you give it, they're gonna give you what you asked for. Because it's like I said, I've
And
had
I've seen it.
encounters with them where I didn't encounter some of them that may have been, you like how you said, that were
A
real
little persistent.
a little persistent or whatever. But guess what I did? I ignored them.
Ignore them.
I went about my way, but if I would have did that the same way how I've encountered ones that I'm sure, like how you said, the homeless or was dealing with mental issues, then seen it. I walked Baltimore streets right, and then was walking on the same side with a man with a mental order, screaming. But guess what? I didn't feed into him. I ain't say nothing to him, and that man did his thing. Ain't pay me never mind. But I seen people who got into it with him, knowing clearly that this man has a mental illness, and you're feeding into whatever. And guess what?
And when he hit you with that, strong hand, you ain't gonna say nothing.
Yes, he gave him
hit you with that strong. You think he crazy, but wait till you get a lock on.
Baby,
I'm not crazy on the street, but I don't make eye contact either.
Yes, and that's my whole point.
And I get why a Hogan, fucking hoagie sandwich would say this to somebody or put that out there, but I also it's us. It's what the ones of us.
Yeah.
That keep remarking on them as if first of all, you're not gonna keep this fucking parental advisory on my face like this. But it's the audacity of us to make remarks because we know how people perceive us.
Right.
You know, are they doing something illegal? Maybe. They don't have a business license to be out there. It's safe. They in traffic, weaving through. But it's just, that's what they doing. Give them a solution before you just make a U-turn and pull a bat out your car.
Right. But what it shows us is that even in these people that are in, these government offices or in these positions, what it definitely shows us is that just them stereotypes that has been plagued on us as a people, period. It's just some stuff we cannot get away from. It definitely shows us that, like, and in all hindsight, no matter where they are, what they say, they always gonna look at you as a as a nigga. They is, no matter how, no matter what I'm doing,
they gotta put in their
what
place.
I'm doing in my career or walking or whatever, I'm still this black woman, and whatever stereotypes that they have and they plague on us, and that's here and that's in society, it's hard for them to let go of that image.
Right,
and just how we're saying and how media portrays us is ridiculous.
That's why I defended the guy in the bodega initially, because I'm not going to always jump to just because we saw the end result, we didn't see the beginning.
Right.
And there will be other, he got another camera in there, we go see something, or somebody had a phone out or something, hopefully, and we get to hear it, because I don't want to think that this man came in there for fucking 75 bags, 30-cent bag of table chips and an EBT card. I don't want to believe that.
But but what you're saying on that, I don't know how that's going to change the outcome, because he still came behind the counter and assaulted him first. Even if there was a conversation that happened before, an argument that happened before, the results are still the same. That he ended up putting his hands on somebody that he shouldn't have done.
And how he responded the same way how we talking about this guy with this bag.
We have to be careful the way we say that, because now the same is going to be true for this young man that was out there squeegee. They're going to put the same narrative, but he didn't have a right to come and shoot somebody either.
No, but that's not the same though. The same thing, the reverse of that one would be, you didn't have a right to get out your car and approach me with a bat.
Yeah, but that's because
the occurrence of getting ready to assault me.
But my point to saying that was, there were witnesses to say that this man did a U-turn, he got out his car, got a bat. I am saying in the situation at the bodega, we don't know what happened really outside of the car declining, if the car declined. So I'm leery of how I leave comments, especially on social media.
I mean, but no, when you say that though, we do know what happened. The car declined. That man came back there.
And got him, and they pushed
him. Shoved that old man to the ground.
But did you see what happened up until when? Did you see the car decline? Is the footage showing where the car declined? Do we hear that?
What relevance is that? But that's
it has a lot of relevance. It has a lot of
they
relevance.
use that as a justification.
But
of
it's a
saying
lot
the
of
story.
relevance to that if you keep going into the store and you keep being disrespected. If that's the
No, there
It
is no
is.
relevance to him coming back there and shoving that man.
Sure.
There is no
Yeah.
relevance to that.
It's
You
And
don't
not.
put your
like I
hands
said, in
on
my
nobody
experience,
because you've committed a crime once you've assaulted someone. Period.
like I just said, we don't know. Like, I'm not defending what his actions were, but we don't know how it started or what started it.
But what does
Because
that
at some
change as
point
the end? That's what I'm
it
saying,
changes
though,
a
Nate.
lot,
But what
though,
does that
Monty.
change?
It
I get what
changes a
you're
lot. If
saying,
you go
but
into
what
the
does that
stores in your
change?
neighborhood and you keep being disrespected, you will get tired of being beat down like that. And you're already
Exactly.
in a
But what
certain
is your
economic
recourse? Your
community.
recourse is then to assault someone to commit the crime in their hand?
Everybody wasn't raised like us.
Right, but you still
Right.
committed the crime.
But I'm saying it still doesn't make it right. So,
Yeah.
so I get what
regardless
you're
of how you
saying,
get
because like
talked
I said, we
to,
all
if you
speak from
instigate
experience.
the matter
Right.
into fighting someone and shoving that old man to the ground, and
I'm
he
not
then in
defending
turn,
I'm not defending it. I'm saying,
oh, okay.
for
But then that's
me,
what I'm
in these-
saying. But what is
but I'm
that?
saying in
What
these
is the
situations,
narrative?
you gotta
The
know.
beginning narrative has to
Yeah,
do
but
with
just because
anything.
that's
Because in the
how
court
it
of law,
ended,
the narrative is one thing, but the actions all speak for themselves.
but it's not the only action that I'm gonna be looking at.
Right.
Because
But
I
you
wanna
don't
know how it
matter. The
started.
court matters.
It does matter. It matters to me because I'm not gonna condemn somebody if there's a whole nother situation that happened to lead up to that. I
So
find
that
it
was
strange.
justly.
I
So
find it strange
if
for
there
somebody to
was,
come into
if
a
there
store.
was a scenario that said that something led to this man going behind the counter and shoving him, you would agree with that?
Well, we haven't heard that. All we have is this piece of information.
No, we have a video of an old man being shoved to the ground and then gets up and grabs a knife and defends himself. That's what we have.
But there's no sound to that video? Do you hear that? Do you have the video from the other side?
I mean, what part of the sound
that's
would
what I'm
help
trying
you
to
get to the
understand.
end?
Was being said.
What could he have said? Could he
That's my
to be even
question.
to justify it? But that's what I'm saying though, and we can look at it in the same relevance as how we talking about the squeegee worker and that guy.
Right.
He's saying it like that because
Right.
what you're saying is that depending on what was said or what happened leading up to it, that it can justify what the other person's inappropriate response
But see
was.
here, because that happened here in Baltimore, we know how people feel about the squeegee kids. So there's a pattern of behavior from pedestrians, from riders and pedestrians, and just people in general against the squeegee kid. In this case, it's an isolated situation that we're not from there. We don't know what happens in that store. For that man to have that knife accessible, that means something been going on in that store. And I'm not blaming it on him. I'm just saying the nature of that store is that he needs a knife like that to defend himself.
But to say that though is to say that stores don't, that a whole bunch of store owners don't have weapons at their disposal for when they are.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I mean, it's typically because we're looking at this situation at it being a knife. It's typically a shotgun or a gun that the store owners have.
Necessarily had the knife in there as defense. I think it might have just been a tool he was using to, do
even if it was a tool,
exactly.
he managed to get it to be able to defend himself. I'm saying I need to see what happened before. I need to see what happened before. And a lot of these videos that we get that shows proof of what happened, it only shows part of it. We don't hear what the exchange was, and I'm not saying just because somebody said something to you.
But that's what I'm saying, though.
It sounds just as strange to me. But it sounds just as strange to me that somebody came into a store.
But words of what can't oversee the actions. Because if you are saying that, then proceeding on to what happened before this guy got out with this bat.
Right.
Would justify his response. Now, what if these squeegee boys, even though that wasn't our experience, right? What if the squeegee workers were being disrespectful? What if they did disrespect him, calling out his name? What if they hit his car? So now you're saying that if that was the case, then him jumping out with this bat justified because he was in defense or whatever.
But honestly, and for me, the outcome in either side is horrible. All I'm saying is, for me, in these spaces that we're in right now, I'm not comfortable with parts of the story. I'm just not. And we see how it ended on both sides.
You
I'm
always
not
gonna get
comfortable
parts.
with
We
parts of the
always
story.
know is the truth.
That's
The
why
lie,
that's
and
one
then
of the
is what
reasons why
really
I
happened.
will. That's
I
one of the
said my
reasons
point
why
was to say
I
this,
keep getting
regardless
out.
of what happened verbally before the incident took place, what you see visually is a man approaching another man that is doing his job and being shoved to the ground and then getting up and being in the defensive
But see
posture
that, and see
to defend himself.
again, I'm gonna say for me, this is my opinion. This is how I feel.
Oh, I'm not
I
trying to
am not
change your opinion,
comfortable-
but I'm just
I
saying,
am
I'm
not
just
comfortable with
clarifying what
parts
we
of a
saw.
story. I'm not comfortable with a camera that simply shows one side, that doesn't have any audio. I want to hear what happened. This is why I don't like doing jury duty, because I am the person that's going to be in that room, say, I don't feel comfortable with this. So it won't be a unanimous vote because I don't feel comfortable if it doesn't have additional information. Why does that video not have any sound to it? Why can't we see the other side of the camera? Why can't we hear what happened between him and the lady? Because there has to be video that shows up until, if that video was that clear to show us that, then there was video that should have showed the exchange between him and the lady.
But I guess the question would be, even in court, the question would be, how would you know in the scenario that led up to that change the fact that the person that assaulted him broke the law?
Right.
And I'm not disputing that, but it also.
But that's what I'm saying. But you just used the.
No, but it sounds.
You just used an example of being on a jury. The jury is not. You're not there to know the entire story of what happened before that, because that could have started at 8 o'clock that morning with him being angry about something.
Because I would need to know that.
But what I'm saying is even as you are on the jury and you start off with, the incident could have started at 8 o'clock in the morning with him being angry over stubbing his toe against the bed and led all the way up to him fighting that man in that store. That has no relevance to him breaking the law.
That's what his girlfriend will. She's gonna have to defend that on a trial. She's gonna have to say that. But for me, it's. I don't. But
it has no relevance. See, I don't like relevant to the law breaking.
I don't like that this stuff is going to trial and we've already saw a video clip or something. So now we are going to create a narrative to depict that. Because the same thing is happening to the squeegee board, that there's a nature in how people feel, so that automatically created a narrative that this man is in the right for getting out his car with a bag.
But a lot of times, well, you can't really say that because everybody is not deeming that the man was right at all. We speaking on how the eye of her ups are, saying that he was right or whatever legitimacy they're trying to say and doubling its reward for him.
They're trying to convict
all
him.
Respect, I think what my opinion of it is that Nate, and I get everything that you're saying, but I think after everything is said, it's still, you got to still look at the question of what's right and wrong.
Well, and that's what
regardless
of
what was said. I think it's for the words for me does not overpower the actions. So regardless of what was said, this man probably did. I don't put it past him because of my experience. He probably was disrespectful. They probably did have a situation before, but still, she still made the choice to tell him or whatever. And for whatever reason, he probably went in the store and responded the way that he did to this old man.
I hope something
had a situation with him before. But he went too far. He had no business. Regardless of whatever. Huh?
It just seems like it just seems strange that he would come in there and beat the man. It seems strange that he would come in there and just beat the man for no reason.
We would like to think because as we know as rational people that is always a cause and effect. But we cannot. But we can't.
So let me ask this question then.
The fact too that it don't take nothing sometimes.
So let me ask this question
you have
then.
a point that come from there, sometimes we know it don't take nothing.
But I want to see,
I want
to see, and I want to hear that whole video.
So let me ask this question. If the guy did not die, okay, the guy in the bodega, if he did not die, the 34-year-old that assaulted the older man, if he did not die, and all he did was assault that man, and the man did nothing, what would be the difference in what you're asking?
Say that again.
Now, say for instance, the guy did not die. The 34-year-old, the knife wasn't in play. The knife never happened.
37.
And he just came back there and assaulted that man. Would the beginning of the story matter?
It would matter to me because I would want to know what
And they
caused
changed
that.
it.
But
And
why?
what
He
did
still
he
broke the
went in and
law.
beat that man to death.
He
Yeah,
still beat him up. He
Yeah,
still
but-
assaulted that man.
but-
That man didn't throw a bag of chips at him. He didn't throw the Independence card back at him. He
But we
didn't
don't
fight
see-
him
we
on
don't-
the other side of the
But
counter
we don't see
because he was
that.
still
We
doing his
don't
job
see
in the
that.
booth.
That's not what you see on that video.
What you
That's
see
not
is
what
that
we
man
see.
came into the booth where that man was
But the
isolatedly
video
working.
does not start at that
And he
point,
was
though.
in there when he
What
was
you see
getting
in the
up.
video is that man came into
Yeah,
the
but
booth
there's
where he was
more
isolatedly
footage
working
before that.
and
Why?
beat him
Why?
up and
Why are
pushed
we
him to the
only
ground.
getting? But why are we only getting the video from that point? Why is it?
Because that's when the crime was committed.
But we don't know that.
There
though,
may be
because
more
they put
footage.
out-
I'm not even against what you're saying. There may be more footage.
But it doesn't
But the
change
footage
the
that they
fact
gave
that he
you
came
was
in
the
the
part
And
where
I'm
the
not-
crime was
I
committed.
never said I was defending his actions. I just want to see the video before that. I want to see where the exchange started. That's
And
what
I
I
guess
want
what
to
we
see.
saying, Nate, is that even if it was a situation that had curbed that, does that justify
And
that
I
guy responding like that and going to the store?
and I've been
So I guess
answered
that's
no
why
to that.
I'm saying it doesn't matter.
But
It
it
doesn't matter.
it matters to me, but it doesn't justify his actions.
Right,
It
right.
matters to
And I
me.
can
though.
get that. I can get
Because
that. We
too
all know
many
that
times-
we
too
all know
many
that there's
times
more
this
to
stuff,
it.
this type of information gets put out there, and the full story didn't come out. You know, and we saw that in the we saw
But I
that.
don't know
But
if
the
that's
just
the-
of
I
the
mean,
story.
I don't
But
know
the
if that's the
just of the
truth though,
story is
because they
all
showed
that's
you
needed versus-
what they showed you in the
I'll
video.
go back even further to so y'all understand what I'm saying. Like with the Freddie
I
Gray
gotta get ready to
incident,
get my face off of here.
we see like from the Freddie Gray incident,
But
we
I
saw
gotta
him
drive, so I'm gonna still be
simply being
listening.
put
I'm still
into
gonna
the
be
bag.
chit-chatting.
But we simply saw Freddie Gray being put into the back of the car. We didn't see them beating him up before that. We didn't see them dragging him. They started the video, or people's phones started when they saw him putting him in the car, and they were just dragging him.
But
in
it
the car.
didn't change the fact that it was wrong that he died in police custody.
It doesn't. But I'm saying, if we just went by,
to the incident, I guess that's what we're saying, Nate, and what I feel for some reason you're not hearing. Because you usually
I hear what you say. I said for me,
you're usually a good
if I'm
listener.
on a jury, for me it would matter what happened before. It does matter to me. It may not matter to you all, but to me it would matter what
Right,
happened.
but the actions
Right,
part
but
of it matters. But the
But that's not
actions
the whole
part of it
story,
matters
though.
to me.
I think
part of
where
the
we're getting tossed up at is because Nick keeps saying it matters to him and not the fact that it matters to proving the law that was broken, because that's your job as the juror, is to prove and identify what law was broken, and that's against the
Right.
charges that were presented to you.
And the man
Right.
who
And that would not
assaulted the
have to
older
do
man
with any
is
part of
not
the
the one
story
on the
except for
trial.
the part that was charged.
But the man
Right.
that is dead is not the man that's on trial either.
Correct.
So
The person that stabbed
that's
him
why
is
I
the
would
one
wanna
that's on
see the
trial.
whole
The person
video. I wanna
that
see
got
where it
the person
started.
that did the stabbing is the one that's on trial with the Bodega Incident.
Right, but that's why
And the
I
same
wanna
thing with
see
the gun
whole
with
video.
the incident here. The person that shot the person that was getting ready to assault him is on trial.
Yeah, but that's why I need to see if there's footage. I want to see what happened before that. And I'm simply saying I don't disagree with you all.
And I think that's
but
where,
it matters
but
to
no
me
one will
what
ever
happened
be able to
before that.
see that because there is no video to prove for the one particularly here in Baltimore. There is no video to prove that. All you have
Well,
is
the
eyewitness.
intersection that they in, that's cameras in that intersection.
I mean, yeah, they could probably pull that footage, but it still wouldn't have sound. Because that's what you said. You want to hear what happened. The videos that's going to show that in the vicinity are not going to have sound. So you're still going to have to narrate.
There are witnesses in that though.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the proof that you're going to have to go with. It's what the eyewitnesses said. The eyewitnesses said that man approached them with a bat. That's period.
No, and I'm not disputing what has already been said. But for me, I want the whole story. I don't want.
How are you? That's the point. That's what I'm saying. Without there being video footage of the entire story with sound, how are you going to ever get the whole entire story? All you can go off of is what the eyewitnesses tell you.
But that's what I want to hear. I don't want to just see a photo of the man laying in the puddle of blood. I don't want to just see that. And then that's the narrative that then gets spread around the internet. I want to hear the eyewitness accounts. This right here seems very contrived because you just showing me the video from when the man came behind there. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
If you were only showing you what they're presenting to you now. Like
then.
I said, there is probably more footage. There's actually several different videos.
That's what I'm saying.
The video that I identified, the video that we identified here on Be Exposed Radio is the video showing when the actual crime,
I'm sure at some point somebody else in the store had a camera phone, and that's what
but what is that camera phone going to present? The crime was still committed on a clear video.
I'm not disputing the crime. I'm not.
Then what are we disputing? I'm not sure what you're disputing because none of the before story is going to resolve the situation.
I said for me, if I was on the trial, if I was a juror, I would want to see the whole video, not just
but that
the
wouldn't
point
be
of
even that wouldn't even be giving you that wouldn't even give you the reasoning for what you were doing because on a jury, you as a juror, you are presented with charges.
But to ask the question, what happened?
When you say for me,
with that man coming behind the counter.
Nate, when you say for me, when you said it's for you, it's not about you. It's about the charges.
It's about
me.
I'm telling you my perspective and what.
But I'm saying I'm not talking about your perspective. I'm not talking about your perspective. I'm talking about what you said about the jury.
That would be a valid question for any juror to ask. Can we see what happened before? If they didn't show that
and
would
the
be a
judge
valid
would actually say to you, say to you, what is your reasoning for wanting to see that before?
Because I want to see what started this. I would want to see
charges are this and this and this.
And it did not start with that back in the store.
But see, listen, look, Nate, did you see what I'm saying though? The judge would say the charges are this. Nate, can you listen to my question real quick?
I want to see what happened before. That was it. That was
Can
it.
you listen to my question first? Can you listen to my question?
Oh my God!
Can you listen to my question?
The same, though.
This is the debate.
It is a debate. It really is. But we got to be able to hear each other.
If you were the
Nate, I just said you can answer my question first.
But listen to what I'm saying.
I don't understand what
you're
saying.
We listen to you, Nate. We listen to you.
If it was one of you,
Nate, why are you still going?
Know what happened?
Nate,
be quiet. Money. No, but I definitely understand where he is coming from. You know, and that's the great thing about.
I didn't want to know the whole story. I understand that. But my point was that I was trying to direct him back to what he kept saying about me and him and understanding. I understand he wants to know the whole story. But when you talk about when you're on the jury, you only can be presented with the charges.
Right.
And the charge right now, in particular, if you was on that man's jury, the man that's in jail now, the guy at the bodega who got arrested for the murder of that 34-year-old, the charges is second-degree murder. The only thing you can get resolution on is those charges.
Yeah, but you're acting like the other part, the beginning of the incident, which was between him and the young
matter
lady.
In the case. That's what I'm saying. The judge would not even allow that to be presented because the incident was the charge of murder.
His defense would want to show the beginning of that video. So that would be
the
more
defense. But you said jury.
Unless
you would not be able to get that. Because you're on the jury and your only instruction is to go off of the charges.
And I know that to not be true because I was.
No, you can ask questions. No, that's not what I'm saying. I said you can ask questions, but they will not give you what they would not cover in the case. If that was not presented in the trial,
but that would show
other additional footage that the rest of the case would not be able to see.
But that would show the cause of
and that's what I hear both of y'all saying is that it can take some type of precedent, but also at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make a difference. Because Nate, when I'm hearing you say this, and speaking on this case, I'm thinking back to the situation about with the Sweeney workers. Mm-hmm. And had we had any type of footage on what took place prior to this guy jumping out with the bat, like I said, let's just say that, they hit his car or whatever. Are we then just saying that
doesn't justify. It doesn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you
So
still need to
in saying
show that. But
right.
historically, it's still, but it does matter, because if the cases were switched, you would want all the information that you could get to prove that that black man was not in the wrong. You would want to know that. You will want to know that.
What is it that could have? I guess my point is what is it that could have happened outside of what you saw?
I think he was in the wrong on how he responded.
I never disputed that. I never disputed the black man and the
owner disrespected him and called him out his name and called him a bunch of racial slurs and all this other stuff. I guess the way that I'm seeing it is that this store owner was not the aggressive party. Regardless, even if he was aggressive verbally, or whatever the case was, I guess I'm speaking on to say, did this man, was he justified in defending himself based off of what I seen at that moment to what happened before this man was killed? It's an unfortunate situation, but in all hindsight, yes, he was. He had the right to defend himself, regardless of what was said. And I would look at it on the same notion. If it was the other way around, if it had happened the other way, if he had ran in his store and a whole bunch of stuff happened before, they got racial slurs, he could have smacked the lady, whatever, or anything, I would have seen it the same way. And if this man ran in his store and the owner didn't meet him with a knife, but then it was his doom because he beat the crap out of him or whatever else like that, I don't think I would be able to, like how I said, justify the brother acting and say, well, because he got racial slurs or he said this and said that. It still was not necessary for him to go into the store and beat this man to death. And I guess that's what I'm saying.
I have yet to defend his actions. I said for me, if I'm on that trial, that's something that I want to see. That's something that I want to see, and that's something that will be necessary for me as a juror to be able to see. I don't like when.
So then I guess the question would be for you, and I think we're going to end it here because we did this.
You already knew what you was getting.
No. This was great. No, that's not what I'm saying. No, I said my question would be then, and when you say that, and what if the judge said, you asked your question, you want to see the footage before, and he says that's denied because it has no relevance to the crime being committed. Then what would you do? You would say he's guilty of murder?
I would feel that would be unfair, because if the gentleman who did the stabbing was justified, that part of the video would prove that, because it would show that he didn't do anything to revolt. It would show that he didn't do anything to entice this man coming into his store.
My question to you is that what could the store owner do if that was the case? What could the store owner have done or said that would justify him running in the store? I mean, because in all hindsight, that's what you said. What could he have said or done that would justify it?
But what's not being heard from me, I never justified that man doing that. That wasn't something that I did. I am just saying, I would want to see the rest of the footage. I would want to see the part that they cut off.
And I guess just like our human nature, like I said, I get it. Because I know it's our human nature for us to just, think, and our rational minds is that it would have to be, it definitely is a cause and effect. But unfortunately, in this day and age, in this day and time, we know people do stuff for all types of reasons. And
but not even for just cause and effect. It was simply, I would want to see what happened to get her to go outside and get him to come in. Like what was the interaction between the store owner and her?
We're speaking on and off experience where we know certain things happen, but I think that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that me and you know that sometimes it ain't gotta be nothing. It ain't gotta be nothing. It could have just been the mere fact that she was mad that her EBT card declined.
Right.
And she went out here and got this man into a situation where he was irrational, probably was high on some pills, because I told you that just puts the madness in people. You know what I mean? Up in New York,
now the man's a drug addict. She made the man a drug addict.
Y'all, man.
He's a bad drug addict.
I'm just saying.
That was something that was added to the narrative. That was
Right.
added to the narrative.
See how we add to the narrative? Now he was high. That man was off the Zaza.
No, we're not changing the narrative. I'm just giving you the insight on a different scenario where let's not act like stuff don't happen and substance abuse or drugs
but simply because they're in both situations, there are Black people involved. For me, I want as much of the story as we can get, because we've seen historically they're able to prove that we're wrong with no evidence, none. And that's the part that I always, whether we're in the wrong or not, and obviously his actions did not justify the origin, but we don't know that because we don't see this whole story. That's my point. When we're involved, I want as much information as possible to come out. Not just the point where he came behind that, because it seems weird to me that somebody would come in the store and come behind the counter. But I've had that experience, and also
and that's what I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I don't justify,
and we can't say that because we know stuff just be happening.
Yeah, but
we know stuff be happening.
But if they had this clear footage, that means they had clear footage of before he walked in that door.
Oh no, and that's what I said. I said no. There are different angles to this. I only pulled that one. I only pulled that one because it showed the crimes being committed. But there are different angles to this. The store itself had camera angles from the front, the side, and over there by that doorway.
Well, even saying that, it showed the assault. Because he's not the man who did the assaulting, is not on trial. It's a person who defended himself.
Correct.
So talking about angles, I guess whatever angle you look at it from, I guess you're gonna have a different opinion on it. Or
even if it's sound, if we hear what was actually being said between the lady and the man, and then with this man and the other man, I just want to hear it, because I saw a smaller clip of the man pushing him, and then somebody reaching from the other side trying to push the man back off of him. That's the only part that I saw. So even from that, I didn't understand what was going on. But it didn't even show this much. So that shows much. So what if we go back even further and show the interaction between the lady and the man? That's all I'm saying. Anytime we're involved, I need as much information as possible to come out. Because we jumped to you to put the man on Zaza.
No. That's not That's how we was doing. The same way how you putting the man on to say that it had to be something done or whatever beforehand and all of that. You know what I mean?
But that's not what I'm.
You're saying with one breath, you're not justifying it, but
I'm not. No, but I'm not even.
You are.
No, but I'm saying. But what I'm
not
saying.
trying to put the man on drugs. But what I'm trying to talk is about the realization of the situation that 9 times out of 10, when irrational stuff like this happens, drugs or some type of substance abuse on individuals is involved. And I would never put that play on, my Black people as a what's your name.
But I'm just saying, it's not even saying.
And the reality of the situation is, no matter what happens, even though we know society or whatever is a certain way, it's still gonna make it right.
We wanting to see the beginning of the interaction has nothing to do to say, well, the owner had to have did something wrong. I just want to see what caused this lady to go outside and get somebody to come back in. That's what I want to see.
You're going off the thought that something had to happen. And I'm just trying to make the point that it didn't have to be nothing.
But that's not my thought. I just want to, if it's video footage of it, I just want to see it. Like what happened between the two of them. That's it for me, because she gonna have to testify to it.
I'm going to send it to you.
But the lady gonna have to testify for it, so we gonna hear about it. But I just want to see the video. If you gonna put that video footage out there, start from when that lady came in the store. Give me the whole scenario. Don't just give me the point of this part. Show me the whole story. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying something had to happen for her to run out the store and get him, or who said she went and got him. She may have been ready to go, and he said, "No, fuck that. I want my chips." So he may have been on the Zaza. You don't know. But for me, I just want to see the whole story. She's going to testify, so we're going to learn what the interaction was. He's going to probably have to end up testifying, and from his perspective, telling what happened. Whoever that white arm lady that poked her hand through there will tell what she saw. So I just want the full narrative before it even goes to trial. We already seeing what they want us to see from it. So that's me. And maybe, I just like Black people too much. And I just want us to have the whole story out there versus just the bits and pieces. So if he's guilty across the board. But let's see it. That's it.
Well, he's not guilty. He's dead. So, I mean.
You said what?
The guy's dead. So.
Well, I'm talking about the store owner.
Oh, okay.
At this point. Because that's the crime that's happening. That's the alleged crime.
That's what he's being charged with. That's why
Mayor
said he doesn't believe that he should have been charged.
Right. The Black man isn't being charged here. It's the other man that's being charged. So I just want all the information. That's
the
it.
Initial victim.
Yeah. The initial victim. See the
he was the initial victim. He was the one that was shoved and assaulted first. He was the initial victim.
Maybe he was high. Who knows? Maybe he was high.
All right, that's it. That's it.
Maybe he was high. Who knows? What if that come out that he was high?
Chastity. I thank you for joining us tonight.
He went through the little thing and touched that lady breast. What if that comes out?
Or maybe she was high and she just really had
maybe
the money.
She was high. Maybe she was high and put in the wrong pen. Who knows?
Yes, and put in the wrong pen. And well, that.
But I want to say it. Right, but she went right. And she couldn't get the pen right. We don't all put our debit card in wrong because we had to pay or something. I just want to say,
Chastity, I thank you for joining us tonight.
No problem, Monny.
Thank you for joining me tonight. Nate's show is the Artist Exchange every Friday at 5 p.m. right here on Be Exposed Radio.
Yes, and I'm up next. Your girl ChasReal, the Empress Lady Cake Mix is coming.
Yes.
So hopefully I'll come back
and as you can see, she does have a lot to say. So we development is in effect right now. So we're getting ready to get this thing rolling. I thank you guys for listening to Talk Lately tonight. We will be back again probably tomorrow or Tuesday at 7 for sure, right here on BeExposedRadio.com. Thank you guys for listening and stay tuned.
See you all.